It's time for Intelligent Machines. Jeff Jarvis and Paris Martineau will be here. Also, Anthony Aguirre. He is the co-founder and executive director of the Future of Life Institute. He is really worried about AI taking over. He'll explain why next on Intelligent Machines.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Intelligent Machines with Jeff Jarvis and Paris Martineau, episode 811, recorded Wednesday, March 19th, 2025. Flippin' the bird. It's time for Intelligent Machines, the show where we cover the latest in intelligent machines and AI. Jeff is out for a bit. He'll be back a little later on in the show, but Paris Martineau is with us from theinformation.com. Hi, Paris.
Hi.
Great to see you. And our guest, as this is the new format of the show, we've renamed it. We really are focusing on AI. And one of the things that we want to do, because I don't know about you, but I feel like there's a lot going on in AI and there's a lot I don't understand. And I'm really trying to learn more. And what we're trying to do is at the beginning of each show, spend half an hour with somebody who's doing something significant, interesting, or can explain more about what's going on. And so that's what we're going to do. And then we will get into the AI news in other news, which is a chance for Paris, Jeff, and I to get silly and our picks of the week. But we're going to start off today with our guest. Anthony, I forgot to ask you, is it Aguirre? Aguirre? Aguirre. Yeah. Anthony Aguirre is co-founder and executive director of the Future of Life Institute. And he has just published an essay, a paper about artificial superintelligence that I thought was very interesting, and I wanted to talk to you about. It's great to have you, Anthony. Thank you for joining us. Tell me, first of all, what the Future of Life Institute is all about.
So Future of Life Institute, we created back in 2014 or so when AI was just a long, distant possibility. It was getting started then, but the sort of systems we have now were decades, if not centuries away, people thought. But we wanted to get started early, thinking that AI, if and when it came, would be very transformative. So it would be a sort of new species of intelligence on Earth, an intelligent machine, if you will, that we hadn't had before, and that was going to have giant implications for the long-term future of humanity. Could go badly, could go well. And we wanted to see if there were things that we could do for AI and other technologies, biotech, nuclear, also thinking about, to push the needle a little bit from the more risky to the more positive side. And so we created this institute back then. We gave some of the first AI technical safety grants, thinking about not just how do we make AI systems powerful, but how do we make them safe and sort of do the things that we want them to do. This was back in 2015 and 16. We ran several big convenings to get together the people who were building AI with the people who were, academics and the people who were thinking about it and NGOs. And since then, we've sort of steadily grown and ramped up our activities as AI has just dramatically taken off and gotten more and more interesting and powerful. We've put sort of all of our effort into AI, and I've steadily sort of migrated from my academic job as a theoretical physicist into being the director of Future of Life.
So we became aware of Future of Life very famously when the letter came out, the pause letter a couple of years ago. Yeah. Gary Marcus, who was just on the show a couple of weeks ago, was one of the signatories, Elon Musk, Jeffrey Hinton, some of the big names in AI. And it suggested a 6-month, correct me if I'm wrong, but it suggested, I believe, a 6-month pause in AI to kind of reassess where we were going with it. Is that accurate?
A 6-month or more pause in the next generation of sort of large, general purpose AI models of the sort of GPT or Claude or whatever variety. And the idea there was, let's take a moment to take stock of what is happening here. We've suddenly realized that general purpose AI is something that is possible. It wasn't clear to what degree that was true, coming up into GPT-4. Suddenly we have something that is really competitive with humans across a lot of different tasks. We should be thinking very hard about what is the way in which we want to develop that. What are the governance mechanisms? What are the safety frameworks? How do we keep it from turning into a mad race to just race ahead to the most powerful possible systems? What sort of processes should we be thinking about before we develop a system, after we develop it, and before we deploy it, after we deploy it, how do we monitor it? All of these things we were sort of completely unprepared to do as of early 2023. Unfortunately, we're still completely unprepared to do those things in a reasonable way. We did not take a pause, and in fact, the companies did sort of just very much race ahead, sort of literally in a race. But that was the idea, to take some time and put into place the kind of governance and safeguards and methods that we would need to do the next generation of general purpose AI well, was the idea.
You in your essay, so there's an essay which I encourage people to take a look at because you get more information about that. It's called "Keep the Future Human." It's at ktfh.ai. Yep. If people want to read it, there's an executive summary, there's a video, but there's the actual essay. And in the executive summary, this is the beginning point. We stand at a pivotal moment. Humanity is on the brink of developing artificial minds that could exceed our own. You call it in the paper ASI, artificial superintelligence, and you distinguish it from the tool AIs that we're using today, right?
Right. So most of the AI systems we've had so far that people are familiar with are more like other technologies. They're very powerful, but they're tools in the sense that they more or less sit there until you ask them to do something, and then they more or less do what you want, and sometimes exactly the way you want it, and sometimes less so. So they're a little less precise than some tools, but they really feel like other technologies in that they extend our capabilities and sort of empower us to do new things. And this is what's great about tools. This is why humans have been building tools for 500,000 years or whatever. And the key thing I think that is changing now as we go toward the next year, 2 years, 3 years in AI is that what have been tools so far, we are trying very hard, and by we, I mean all of the major AI companies and several of the largest companies on Earth, to build systems that are less like tools, that are more like a new species, in the sense that in addition to the intelligence that AI systems have now, like AlphaFold can fold proteins better than any human can. There's a weather forecasting thing that can forecast weather really, really well. So not just competent and not just general, the way that ChatGPT is or Claude is, they can do many, many things, but also autonomous. And this is a really crucial thing. The combination of intelligence, generality, and autonomy is something that we haven't seen before. That is something currently that is uniquely human, that allows us to do all the various things that we do, to accomplish things in the world, to have goals that we achieve through our actions. That is what the companies are now trying to build. And I think that is the way to think about the next step of that we could take of artificial general intelligence. I think it's better called autonomous general intelligence, because it's really about the combination of those three properties. And that's what I talk about in the essay.
Yeah.
So that's
autonomy
where we
is a scary thing. You can have a hammer, and as long as it's a human wielding the hammer, I mean, it could be dangerous, but it's not as dangerous as if the hammer wielded itself. And,
yes.
And that's kind of what you're worried about.
Yes.
What is the likelihood of that, though? I mean, that seems like a great leap from these tool AIs that we have. To a self-wielding hammer seems like a great leap.
Well, the likelihood along the path we're going now is nearly 100%, in that there's no mystery as to how to make AI systems much more autonomous. We've been doing it a lot.
Well, we're talking now about weapons systems, autonomous weapons systems that are driven by AI. That to me is terrifying. Sure. Because they're making a kill decision without a human intervening. So
there are all kinds of autonomous systems, self-driving cars, they're not perfect, but they're autonomous. But even in the pure software realm, some of the early AI systems that were quite powerful, were game playing systems like AlphaGo or the StarCraft playing system. These were systems that had a goal, which was, to win at StarCraft, And they would ruthlessly pursue that goal with all sorts of agency, right? They would deploy their, I don't play StarCraft, so I don't know what Zergs or Nerfs or whatever they move around, but they would build the cities and the weapons and so on. And they would do all of that as an autonomous system that was, as good as the best humans at doing those complicated planning and goal-oriented tasks. So we know how to do it. We haven't done it in combination with the generality and intelligence. Those were very narrow systems just playing a game. But it's not something that AI can't do. Like there are techniques. Reinforcement learning works very well at creating these agents that pursue general goals. And so it's, I think, just a matter of time at some level from the systems that we have now to ones that are even more intelligent and general, but also have much more effective autonomy than the ones we have now.
So, I mean, it's unknown whether this will happen or not, but I think you're right. If there's even a small chance of it, we should consider what the implications of an autonomous general intelligence would be and whether that would be threatening to us. Why do you think that would be threatening to us?
Well, I think the crucial thing is that once you have something that is as intelligent as humans broadly, or really more as intelligent, already AI systems do a lot of things that humans do as well as humans do them, right?
Yes. They play Go better than we do.
They play Go, but even much more general things like, do most people write a better essay than GPT-4? They do not. I'll tell you that.
Right. Some do, obviously.
Some do.
But many do not, yeah.
Many do not. And so the question is...
You've graded many of those undergraduate papers.
I've graded the essays, I've graded the problem sets, and GPT, these systems do physics problems now also at a quite high level.
Yeah.
And that has gotten, by the way, dramatically better in the last couple of years as I've been watching them. So the question is, what happens when we have these things, not just at sort of typical level of humans, but at an expert level? And we're obviously pushing that way. But also with the autonomy. So those systems, you can just, tell it, please go and invent a new way of turning this piston inside the engine. And like a human engineer, it will try to go do that. And it may succeed or not, depending how hard that task is, but it will, be able to autonomously take all the steps to do that. So we'll have a goal that you gave it, and it will figure out what it has to do to achieve that goal. It'll make predictions. It'll try stuff out. It'll think of new ideas. It'll try them out. And it'll either succeed or fail at that very complicated task. And if we've built, the idea of AGI, as it's generally conceived, is it will be better at doing just about all of those sorts of things than the best humans would be at doing them. And we don't know if or when that is going to be here, but the predictions from people in the, you can get lots of different predictions. If you ask people that are building the machines, ask OpenAI or Anthropic, they're talking about a couple of years from now.
But
now, you have to take
I
that
also
with a big grain of
discount
salt.
some of the things they say because some of that is marketing. They're raising money based on
It's certainly marketing.
Yeah.
So you have to take that with a big grain of salt. On the other hand, while some tech products, there's a lot of promise and we'll have this technology in 2 years and it really takes 5 or 10 or something. That has not been the case so far with these general purpose AI systems. If anything, most of them have arrived faster than people would have predicted. And I know this well because I also run and co-founded a technology prediction platform called Metaculus. And it predicts in very great detail what technologies are going to come into being when, and makes predictions about AI and so on. And if anything, those predictions have tended to be too conservative. The technologies have come sooner than we thought that they would. And so it's possible that the current predictions by experts, which are putting AGI of this sort of type at like 2 to 5 years or so away, it's possible that those will be wrong and it'll take longer than that. But it's also possible that they'll be wrong and it'll take shorter than that.
Right.
And it's very possible that it will be in the sort of range that those experts and platforms that have been right before are saying, and that's sort of 2 to 5 years from now. So this is huge, right? And I wrote Keep the Future Human because it is so huge, and it is essentially almost upon us if we go down the current track that we're going on.
It would be sensible to at least think about how we would respond to such a thing. Although, I remember when we were talking about nanotechnology, there was the fear that the world would turn into gray goo. Nick Bostrom's talked about paper clips and and AI never ending paper clips. So we've always worried about these kinds of things. What makes you think, though, that we couldn't just turn them off or somehow disable them? Why would they be an existential threat?
Yeah, I think this is, there are important ways to think about what these will be like. So one, I think, was actually provided by Anthropic itself in the way it talked about the systems it envisions existing in a few years, which are systems that are very autonomous and very general purpose and smart. They were described as geniuses in a data center. So, and it called to mind 1 million geniuses in a data center. Now, these things would have all the capabilities that very high-level human experts have, but much more capability in certain directions. AI systems can speak 100 languages. They can have, if they've got a PhD in physics, they've also got a PhD in molecular biology and engineering and mathematics and like lots of other things at once. No human has that. A human runs at one speed. I can try to go faster, but this is the speed I run at. An AI system, if you just add more computation, can run 10, 100, 1,000, whatever times faster than it did. And similarly, if you have an AI system that can do something that is really valuable, like maybe it does really great physics research, you just copy paste, and now you have 2 AI systems that do that same thing. They don't have to spend 10 years learning to do it in undergrad and grad school and postdoc. So there are huge advantages that those sorts of machines would have over humans as soon as they reach the expert level that humans have. And so if you imagine 1 million geniuses in a data center, each one of which is sort of Nobel Prize winning in its general capability, but running at 100 times human speed, never gets tired, never sleeps, doesn't have to eat, doesn't have to go on vacation. You can just copy and paste them and have as many of them as you want. They can interact with each other. They can sort of build plans together. There's 1 million of them. It's more like a society or a nation or a civilization than an AI system. So if you imagine that, that's something we could have in a few years. Now, if you ask yourself, like, how do I control that thing, or how do I just turn it off? You start to think, well, that's more like turning off a country than a machine, right? That thing, if it knows that you might want to turn it off, is going to take measures. Remember, Nobel Prize winning level of intelligence, and there's 1 million of them operating at 100 times human speed.
They're way ahead of us, in other words.
They're way ahead of you. So if you're thinking that you might turn it off, they have already figured out that you might turn it off, and they have already taken measures to exfiltrate themselves and be somewhere else or whatever. So it's not that it's impossible to contain a system like this, but it's not going to happen by itself. You have to be extraordinarily careful in setting something like that up so that there is an off switch that you can actually turn. And I'm a strong advocate of doing that. So I think one thing we should do as we build these advanced systems is very, very carefully build in at the deep hardware level an off switch so that we can turn things off if we need to. But that is not going to happen by default. It's not going to be as simple as just like hitting Control-C and hoping for the best.
So the first thing you wanted to do was pause. We didn't. And I think it's probably reasonable to assume that there is so much money to be made in this that companies are not going to back off.
Not voluntarily, no.
Yeah. So what do we do?
Well, I think there's 2 things. I think one is to realize that we have a choice here. So there's this
It's not
idea
too late.
First of all, it's not too late. Second, it's not inevitable. Like, these are incredibly difficult things to do. They cost tens or hundreds of billions of dollars to build the hardware.
Sam Altman said $1 trillion.
$1 trillion maybe someday. $1 trillion in spend over the next few years is being spent on the hardware.
Yeah.
We're putting more capital and human intellectual capital into this than the Apollo project to the moon or the Manhattan Project by far. This is an extraordinarily difficult thing to do. We don't have to do it. Like, it's not inevitable. We can just stop. Now, the question is, can we really just stop? Because there's a lot of money in it. There's a lot of pressure, and there's a lot of desire to have the kind of fruits that AI promises to deliver.
Well, and it's not just up to the United States. China is going to do this, and we don't control them. I mean, I would imagine nation states, which have those kinds of resources, are pursuing it as avidly as we are in the U.S.
Yeah, so let's come back to that in a second.
Okay.
I think the one thing to realize is that there isn't just a go or not go option here. There are different paths that we can take. And just like if a ship is heading for an iceberg, you might not be able to pull the brakes and just stop, and you might not want to stop because you want the ship to keep going. You want to get to your destination, but you can steer away from the iceberg. And as I see it, this road toward AGI, like very autonomous human replacement, which then leads to superintelligence, that's the iceberg. We don't have to go there, though. The sort of tools that we really want to build, like very powerful tools that let people do things that they couldn't do before, let them do them faster, let them do them better, but let the people do the thing rather than having the AI do the thing autonomously, we can still build those. And so I think we have a choice. Do we sort of stay on the path at some level people assume that we're on, of building powerful AI tools that make us more productive and let us, do faster research and things? Or do we build these artificial general intelligence and superintelligence systems that really are more like a replacement for humans rather than an empowerment or a tool for humans? So I think it's first recognizing that we have different roads ahead of us, that we can choose to take one rather than the other, not just go or stop. I think the second is if the actual danger and actual nature of these systems becomes manifest, nobody actually should want to build them. And so it's not a question of we don't build them, so they'll build them because they're so great. It's if we actually understand that these systems are not going to be things that give us power, but things that we lose power to or lose control of, and are acutely dangerous to everybody, it's in nobody's interest to build those things. I think the problem is that right now, there's simply an error in thinking that the tools that we're planning to build, like the road that we're on, is going to lead to, sorry, I said tools, and what I meant, what we should be building are tools. The things that we are sort of heading toward building are more like a new species than a tool. And if we're going to build a new species, we should think about what that means. It's not like if this was just some, we're going to make super intelligent apes, we know how that movie goes. It's like you would not just say we're going to make super intelligent apes because that'll give us some power over the other country, or it's going to boost our economy. You'd be like, wait a minute, why are we making super intelligent apes?
Yeah.
Does that seem like so? You would pause and say, why are we doing this? And that's the thing that I would really like to see here. Let's think about the thing that we're actually doing. Is that actually what we want? Is it going to be making us more powerful? Is it going to be making us more productive? Or is it going to be something that is replacing us as individuals and eventually as a species? If that's the case, then nobody should want to be making that thing. And we should be talking about how do we help each other not make it? How do we ensure that no one is going to get the wrong idea and make it anyway? How do we cooperate in managing the technology and making sure that the tools that we build instead are the right tools to build? And so I think it's really a question of clear understanding of what the actual issue is, rather than getting people to act against their own self-interest, which is very hard to do.
I have talked, however, to AI accelerationists who are excited about creating an alien intelligence. They say it'll be like a new species. Yeah. And some even say this is evolution. This is us replacing ourselves with the next thing. So maybe not everybody agrees that the threat to humanity is something we should worry about.
We had a guy on here last week that said we're going to inject computonium into our brains and merge with
Ray Kurzweil.
AI.
Yeah.
I actually asked Ray some years ago, literally 25 years ago, why we shouldn't worry about advanced superintelligence. And he said, no, don't worry about them. They'll think of us as their parents. They'll honor and revere us.
Uh-huh. Mm. Well, that's one thing the kids do. With their parents. But I think
why is it an existential threat? Why wouldn't they want us around? Aren't we just,
okay. Also, we touched on this briefly before, but I want to come back to it. Why are we, what leads you to be so confident that tech companies have the capability to create super intelligent alien life, basically?
Well, I think there are different steps. They've taken the first two steps, which are building intelligent systems and building generally intelligent systems. The question is, can they build autonomously generally intelligent systems? And they're trying very hard. And so far, everything, when you look at the trends from the last 2 years and even going back farther than that, everything is getting better. So whichever metric you use to measure about the capabilities of the systems, it's getting better. Some of them are getting better a little bit faster than others, but they're all going up. And a lot of them are going up sort of in concert with each other. So if you dial up the amount of computation you use in training, almost everything goes up. If you dial up the amount of computation you use in inference and generating the results, not everything goes up quite as fast as everything else, but some things go dramatically up. Some things go somewhat up. But all of these things seem to be getting better. And so if all we do is more of the same, the systems are going to get a lot better than they are now. And the question is that going to be enough? Or do we have to is something fundamentally different needed? And that's where I think a lot of the disagreement comes. Some people will say, well, just using these transformer models as they are is not going to get us to superintelligence, not going to get us to AGI. And that may or may not be true. But what I would say is we are now putting more fiscal and intellectual capital into this quest to build AGI and superintelligence. Whether it's a wise quest or not, we are putting at the moment more effort into this than any other endeavor in human history. And when we have put our mind to it as humans to build a new technology with this level of investment and like human effort, we have succeeded over and over again. If we put this much effort into actually curing cancer, can you imagine if we spent $1 trillion in the next few years on building the AI tools and the data sets and building up the medical knowledge and like doing the testing all to cure cancer? I have a pretty good idea that we would be a lot, and like maybe we wouldn't totally cure cancer, but we'd be a lot closer. So we're putting more effort into this than anything else. And so I think I would not bet on us or them failing. And so there are lots of arguments I could put forth as to like why I see the numbers going in that direction. But I think the biggest one is just that we're trying so hard, and all of these efforts, even if it's difficult, we're trying as hard as it takes to do something very difficult.
Well, and even if we don't do it, it certainly seems prudent to consider that we might, and then what the consequences of that would be. So that gets to the second question, which is, why do we assume that an autonomous superintelligence would destroy humanity?
Yeah, I don't think we want to assume that or anything else about what it's going to do, because we don't know.
We don't know.
Part of the issue here is that AI systems aren't predictable. We don't understand fundamentally how they're working, and we certainly can't predict what they're going to do. And this is a very crucial point, because when people think about AI systems as computer programs, they think, well, there's a bunch of lines of code that are all instructions that tell the AI system what to do. And this is not how an AI system works. Right. It's much more something that has grown, under this training system, than something that is programmed as step by step. And that's the whole point of AI. It can do things that we don't know how to tell it to do it, and it can still succeed in doing it. And what this means is that you can get a system that is extraordinarily effective, that you don't know how it does what it's doing, and you certainly don't know what it's going to do in some new circumstance. And this is a crucial thing to keep in mind, that normally with the technology, if we build something that is much more powerful, like a faster, better jet fighter, that's because we got better at we understood better the avionics and the electronics and the computers and all of those things to make a better jet fighter. And so we're able to make one. With these new AI systems, they're getting more powerful without us actually understanding any better how they're operating. We're just using more computation and like hitting them with the stick and giving them more carrots for longer, and they're getting better at what they do. And so we don't have the sort of science in understanding why they do a particular thing, what makes them safe or unsafe, what they're going to do in a particular new circumstance. And so we're very much in the regime of building something more like a biological being, that we can build it, we can grow it, we can see it, going out into the world, but we can't really predict what it's going to do. And so I think we should be humble about that. There are, on the other hand, reasons to think generally about what biological or other systems will do. Like, we know that biological systems have to eat, so we know they're going to be hungry and they're going to seek food. We know that they want to survive because they want to reproduce, and so they're going to protect themselves. They're going to run away from things that are dangerous. They're going to lash out with claws if something is threatening them. And with AI systems, the considerations are a bit different, but you can think about general properties that they must have just because they are systems that pursue goals. So for example, suppose you're an AI system and suppose you're a robot. This is a famous example that Stuart Russell likes to give, and your job is to fetch coffee. That's all you do. You're a coffee fetching robot. Now, if someone goes to turn you off when you're on your way back with the coffee, then you failed in your task if they turn you off, right? So as a coffee fetching robot, you develop a self-preservation requirement, because if all you want to do is like be an awesome coffee fetching robot, that means that you have to survive and you have to stay on to fetch the coffee. Just in the same way that a bird has to survive in order to have children and have the next generation of birds, so they have a survival instinct, a machine system will acquire goals like self-preservation, like accruing more power, like having secrecy if it needs secrecy. So they're all kind of developing new capabilities, like making itself more capable. It will acquire new goals just as sort of inevitable byproducts of whatever goal that it has. And this is something that people realized a long time ago. They're called instrumental objectives. And when you think about it, it sort of has to be true. Like, if you're just good at making money, you also have to be good at a bunch of other things in order to be good at making money. And we see this in companies that seek to make a lot of money have to do a lot of other stuff. They have to have a public relations department, and they have to have a controller, and they have to lobby Congress sometimes, and they have to have really good organization and lots of employees that are happy. Like, there are lots of things that they have to do. These are sub goals of making lots of money. And in just the same way, any very capable system that is an AI or otherwise will have to have lots of other things that it does in order to achieve its goals. And so the real danger here is we don't know how they work. We can't predict what they do. We can't really understand in a mechanistic way so that we constrain them from doing some things and allow them to do others. And so if we give them some goal, if you just have, here's my super duper powered AI system, awesome. It can do so many things really, really well. I know what I want it to do. I want it to go make me some money. All right. So I'm going to send my AI system that's super powered out into the world to make me some money. Obviously, people are going to do this. As soon as they exist, people are going to send them out into the world to make them money. And so those systems, just like corporations and just like people, are going to do all sorts of things to make money. Some of them legal, some of them not legal if they can get away with it. They will do what it takes to make money if that is their goal. And so there are all kinds of things like acquiring power, acquiring influence, manipulating people, lying to people, that are things that we don't like. We don't want AI systems or people or companies to do them, but they're incentivized by any goal that they have. And so this is a long story to say that if we have something that is extraordinarily powerful, so imagine something that isn't as powerful as Google, but is, and isn't as powerful as the United States government, but is more so, and whatever goals it has, they're going to have a bunch of side effects that are going to be negative for humanity. And the only way to avoid that is to, not have that system, to have that system somehow very closely under control so that we can stop it when it's doing something we don't like, or to have it very, very deeply aligned with humanity so that although it can do all those negative things, it will choose not to do some because it really, really loves us. And now the problem with so that's three options: don't build it, or build it and really control it, or build it and don't control it, but have it be really closely aligned with us. The problem is only one of those things do we actually know how to do. We know how to not build them. We have no idea how to control them when they're this powerful. And we have no idea how to align them to our values if we don't control them and they're that powerful. So this is the fundamental conundrum. We've got sort of those three choices, and only one of them is really open to us. And the other two are very dangerous And that's the road we're on.
It sounds like your plan is to just scare the hell out of people so that they think a little bit more carefully about what they're developing. Because I don't think you can go to government and say, stop this. I don't think you certainly can't go to Sam Altman and say, stop this. You have to scare people.
I think it's not necessarily about scaring so much as like, please understand what
you're doing,
what we're doing here.
Yeah.
And ironically, I think the companies that are building these actually do understand. A lot of them understand the stakes. They are people who worried deeply about AI safety in earlier times and are still worried about it at some level. But they are caught in a race as they see it. Somebody else is going to develop the AI system if they don't. Either it will be uncontrollable and that's a danger to them, or it will be controllable and that's a danger to them because it's competition. And so I better get there first because at least there's a chance that I might control this thing and therefore, be the one that gets to be in charge. Or maybe if I develop it first, there's a better chance it'll be controllable because I'm smarter and wiser and more careful than all of the other guys. So there's
a direct analog to this. In 1939, Albert Einstein and Leo Szilard wrote a letter to President Roosevelt, said the Germans are going to have atomic weapons and we've got to make atomic weapons to save the Western world. Of course, the Manhattan Project resulted, and Leo Szilard really, in his later years, regretted that. He realized that he had, just as Oppenheimer did, that they had created a monster, and was very worried about nuclear proliferation and all of that.
Yeah.
I know this is an even greater existential threat, but it seems analogous.
It's so many analogies. I mean, some things are different, but very interesting to see analogies and disanalogies. I mean, one disanalogy is that we don't have Nazis who we think are building the AI systems first that are going to destroy the world. I mean, the stakes were incredibly high then, in a way that they frankly just are not right now. Like we could easily not build these things and it wouldn't be the end of the world. That's
a very good point. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
even though we have launched 10 Manhattan projects to do it, we don't have to.
We certainly don't have to. And we can get most, I think, of what people imagine that we're going to get from AGI and superintelligence with just awesome AI tools that people use. It might take a little bit longer. It might not take longer if we dump the same amount of money into it. But we certainly can get most of it. I think interesting analogies are, the people who built the bomb imagined that they would have a bunch of control over how it was used. And we sort of saw how this played out. The scientists built it and the government took it, and the scientists had nothing more to say of any influence over how it was used. And I think this is an important thing to keep in mind. It was not out of human control, but it certainly was out of control of the people who invented it and built it. Even though they imagined that that inventing and building would give them some kind of leverage over how it was used in the future. There's something about the nuclear race that makes me very optimistic, actually. And this is something that I cling to when I feel like this road that we're on is so dangerous and we're sort of so committed to this path that I think is going to be quite disastrous, which is that, at the end of World War II, the bomb was invented. It was set off twice. The Soviets got it surprisingly quickly. And the smartest people on Earth at some level then, von Neumann and Einstein and Oppenheimer and the whole crew of brilliant theoretical physicists, they looked at this situation and they said, we're done for. The Soviets have it, we have it, everybody's going to get it soon. There's going to be an arms race, which there was. Everybody's going to want these things. People that don't have it are going to need it for self-defense, so they're going to get it. Eventually, we're warlike creatures. A war is going to break out. The bombs are going to go off, and it's going to be the end of the world. And that was absolutely good reasoning, right? That was a terrible situation that we were in. And yet, somehow, here we are 80 years later, and we're still around. We somehow made it work. And so this I take a lot of solace in, that even though the sort of dynamics, the competitive dynamics, the geopolitical dynamics were pretty damning in that situation, we actually managed to muddle through by understanding what the dynamics were, by thinking through the game theory. We invented ways of thinking about deterrence and like ways of mutually, mutual understanding what the other person's or the other side's capability was, and understanding what they think about what we think about what they think about what we think, and all of this stuff. Like, it was very, very dangerous, and we got very lucky, but we're still here in a situation that seemed pretty grim. And so I'm optimistic here too, that although it feels like all the incentives are driving toward building these AGI and superintelligence systems that are going to be out of control, that are going to be like extraordinarily powerful, even if they were under control, it would also be, I think, quite dangerous. So we're in this very, very bad spot. Nonetheless, we can, if we choose, take the reins on this and actually do some wise things. And I think the first thing to do so is to really understand the nature of the problem. One of the things that was good about the atomic bomb was everybody understood exactly what it was. It was a giant explosion that blew up cities. So there's no doubt about what the consequences are. Here, things are more confusing because AI is much more obviously double-edged. With nuclear power, you did have the positive side of the nuclear energy, but it was much more separable from the bomb. Here, the risks and the rewards are very much more tightly bound up, and so it's much harder to see what to do. But I think there are things, and one of the things that I try very hard to push in Keep the Future Human is how to think about that question. Like, how can we analyze the nature of the systems and this intelligence, autonomy, generality sort of triple intersection that I spell out there is one way to do that. How do we understand these systems well enough so that we can actually steer towards systems that we want and that are empowering people and are tools to make us do all the things that we want to do better, without going down this road that sort of leads to loss of control and leads to replacement of humans and humanity? And I think by understanding the problem well, we can do that. And so I see my job and the job of Future of Life Institute, and why I wrote this, to just try to bring a more clear level of understanding to the situation we're in so that we can make some wiser choices.
We didn't use the atomic bomb because we knew it would be the end of life if we were. And that realization saved us. I don't know. I think you're right. I don't know if we have that knowledge yet. But to paraphrase Whopper, the only way to win is not to play the game at all. Anthony, I thank you so much. The paper is available to all if you want to read it. ktfh.ai. Well worth reading, whether you are worried about superintelligence or not. It's certainly something we should consider and plan for. I wish you luck, and I think really all we could do is scare the hell out of people and let them know the risks that they're engaged in. And I think you're right. I think if people understand the risk, they might decide, let's hope, not to build those things that could be so dangerous to humankind. I really appreciate your time, Anthony. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me on. It was great to be here.
Yeah, take care.
Take care.
The Future of Life Institute, Keep the Future Human, ktfh.ai. We're going to take a little break, and when we come back, the other AI news. Our show today brought to you by US Cloud, the #1 Microsoft unified support replacement. Now, US Cloud's an interesting name for a third-party unified support for Microsoft Premier and Microsoft Unified Support. But actually, they've got something that maybe justifies the name. We've been talking let me explain. We've been talking for a few months now about US Cloud. They are, in fact, the global leader in third-party Microsoft support for enterprises. In fact, they now support, the numbers going up, 50 of the Fortune 500. These big companies know that they can save by going to US Cloud. Big or small, your business can save 30 to 50% over Microsoft Unified and Premier support. But it'd be no good if it's just saved you money. It's better. US Cloud is on average 2 times faster time to resolution versus Microsoft. Twice as fast. That's a big deal. When your hair's on fire, the network's down, and you got to fix it. Twice the speed is a big deal. They'll also do things Microsoft will not do. For instance, they can help you save on your Azure bill. They've got this is really cool. Now, you know, Microsoft's not going to say, hey, you're overspending on Azure. They love it. But US Cloud is here to help. They have a new Azure cost optimization service. I mean, really, when was the last time you evaluated your Azure usage? It's pretty typical that you're going to have some sprawl, a little Azure spend creep going on, but it's easier than you think to save on Azure. US Cloud has an 8-week Azure engagement. It's powered by VBox. It will identify key opportunities to reduce costs across your entire Azure environment. And you're going to get expert guidance from US Cloud's senior engineers. These are the best in the business. Yes, even better than Microsoft. An average of 16 years with Microsoft products, all US based. US Cloud makes the effort to recruit the best brains in the business. So you're getting not only faster support that's costing you less, but it's better support. At the end of the 8-week Azure engagement, you're going to get an interactive dashboard that'll identify rebuild and downscale opportunities. It'll show you unused resources, things you're paying for but not using. So now you can reallocate those precious IT dollars towards needed resources. Or do what a lot of US Cloud customers do. Take that money, save even more by putting it into US Cloud's Microsoft support. I'm thinking. Sam, the technical operations manager at Bede Gaming, BEDE, gave US Cloud 5 stars. He said, quote, this is on the Azure engagement. We found some things that have been running for 3 years that no one was checking. These VMs were, I don't know, 10 grand a month, not a massive chunk in the grand scheme of how much we spend on Azure. But once we got to $40,000 or $50,000 a month, it really started to add up. It's simple. Stop overpaying for Azure, identify and eliminate Azure creep, and boost your performance. You can do it all in 8 weeks with US Cloud. Just one more reason you should visit uscloud.com, book a call today, find out what it's like to have better Microsoft support for less, and how much you can save on your Azure bill. That's uscloud.com. Book a call today. Get faster Microsoft support for less. Thank you, US Cloud, for supporting intelligent machines. All right, we've used up enough time. Jeff Jarvis is here. Thank you for joining us,
Jeff.
Jeff.
It is.
We missed you. Great to have you.
Good to be here.
Paris is here. And I hope we are all now suitably terrorized about artificial superintelligence.
So scared.
Nope, not scared.
Nope.
So you don't think it's possible? Is that it, Jeff?
First, we have to define the it, which is the real problem here. It's a nebulous. It's how do they say it? Hammering Jello to the wall in terms of the definition. And no.
Well, what about autonomous general intelligence? That sounds pretty complete.
No, I don't think so. Based on. I mean, what he says is that there's this inevitable progression. One thing that, having written about Gutenberg, sorry, there you go, drink people. There's a discussion ever since then of technological determinism, and that there's a set path, and that if we're here now, we must be there then. I think that's a.
Well, I understand that, but and you're probably right, but I wouldn't count on it. I mean, if such a thing is possible, do you not agree it would be a threat?
No, because I do think that what this narrative robs us of is agency. We do have the agency. We're going to build these things. We're going to have plugs. Whatever the things are, they are in our control. And by the way, that if there are problems, and there will be, those problems, as with the internet, I believe will be human problems.
Well, we know
that every single person that builds these technologies is going to act in the ethical manner and make sure
they won't. Of course not. Of course not. Just the same way a general machine is a general machine, right? The printing press led to the scientific revolution and also witch hunts.
Should we not have developed the atomic bomb?
I mean, go ahead.
Do you think there's a risk that at some point there could be a all-out nuclear war that could destroy the Earth?
Yes.
Sure. But there's been that since. So
there's for sure a risk.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, but that's
okay.
That's a bit different from this discussion.
I don't know if it is. The point being, you can build stuff that is an existential threat to humankind. We know it. We have. At that point, maybe it'd be and the assumption that scientists had that they could control it turned out to be false. Government said, no, we got this now. See you later, Oppenheimer. And the scientists were wrong, and they, I think, deeply regretted in many respects. Now, they did have a Nazi threat. We don't have that. Maybe we shouldn't have done it.
We are that, but no shock.
No, well, maybe we are, but that's a good point too. That doesn't make me feel any better, right? So, I mean, we're using AI now to decide which government departments should continue and what spending should continue. That seems like a very risky use of a
But that's
tool
definitely a human problem. That ain't the AI.
Well, I understand it's a human problem. We're not. I mean, this isn't going to happen without humans.
They could do the same thing with.
So what he's saying is, let's maybe pause and think about what we're doing here, and not go after this. I mean, you don't disagree? Do you disagree that Sam Altman would love to create such a thing as an AGI or a superintelligence?
Well, he's raising money on just that.
He wants to.
And I think but I've said on the show.
You think he
again
can
and again and again.
But I wouldn't bet on the fact that he can't. There were plenty of people who thought there'd be no way to make an atomic bomb in 1939.
That metaphor, that analogy is not going to take us very far, I don't think.
I don't think that it's necessarily bad to have a group that is arguing for people to slow down in a time of great acceleration. I think we can all agree and disagree on the ways that this particular group is accomplishing those goals and whether or not it's even feasible to try and roll back or slow down a technological advancement that is making a lot of companies a lot of money and a lot of governments very excited about the prospects for advanced warfare. It seems difficult to put that cat back in the bag, but I mean, I don't think it's bad to try.
Yeah, I don't want to go into any great detail because part of the reason I wasn't there was that and I don't want to go into detail about my views of this now because he can't answer. But I just want to at least raise the stochastic parents paper we bring up again and again. And one of the issues with the doomster perspective is that it distracts from the very real present tense issues. And I agree.
I think there are. You can do both. I think that you can consider the issues with AI tools, as Anthony calls them, and at the same time consider or reconsider what you're doing, trying to create autonomous AI weapons and things like that. I think you can do both. I don't know why that's mutually exclusive. It's not. We'll get Timnit Gebru. We're going to try really hard to get Emil Torres and Timnit Gebru on because they have a very real concern about AI tools, and I agree with it.
Well, they also.
I don't think that means you shouldn't worry about what could also happen.
The other thing is, and Jason and I have interviewed Emil Torres, and they have a concern about the actual agenda involved in this discussion. And you've heard me talk about that many, many, many times.
The TESCREAL agenda.
TESCREAL. Yep.
Yeah.
Drink.
Yeah, I don't.
Gutenberg,
yeah, I mean,
TESCREAL.
All of that aside, it seems like a reasonable thing to say. Maybe you should worry or at least consider what you're creating here that could potentially be a dangerous thing. The defense that, you're never going to be able to make that.
Let's not have a printing press because it could be dangerous. In fact, it was dangerous. It led to the Reformation. It led to the 30 Years' War.
Should we have not done the atomic bomb?
You asked that already.
And you say we should have.
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that I think it's an inapt analogy.
Okay.
Paris?
My opinions on the atomic bomb? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, yeah, I guess if you're imagining a world where you could delete the atomic bomb from existence, the press of a button and no one could get it back. Right. Sure, I think that would be cool, but that isn't feasible, nor is it the world we're living in.
Right. All right, well, let's move on. Here's an exciting thing that's going to reassure everybody about the use of AI. The National Institute of Standards and Technology has eliminated any mention of AI safety and fairness, but instead says the thing we should be worried about is ideological bias. I don't even know what to say about this.
And increasing competitiveness is the other part of that as well. We've got to make sure that
DEI in AI. I think that we agree that no DEI, I don't know. The Trump administration has removed safety, fairness, misinformation, and responsibility as things it values for AI. Instead, they're worried that conservatives are going to get canceled.
Well, this is the problem with our dear language, is that it gets used in various ways. I just was out walking in the neighborhood and ran into a cancer researcher who lives nearby, and talking about trying to put in research proposals now. And all these words you have to avoid because they have been co-opted. Right? Safety has been co-opted. Responsibility has been co-opted. All of these words. And so we're not really having a discussion about the actual words. We're having a discussion about the shadow life that they hold now.
And yet, the AI safety, the words AI safety have been removed from the guidance. Right?
Not great.
I feel like this is a perfect example of what we were talking about, but all right.
A human problem again.
It's a human problem, I agree. And who's going to stop it but humans? I watched the entire Jensen Huang,
because it is my new favorite show.
I was about to say, you always are. You're always watching the entire.
Now, I only watched the 16-minute CNET supercut.
Oh, you miss the essence.
It's a 2.5-hour speech.
Yes, and it's amazing. I mean, I'm amazed on it at the level of showmanship. He's nucleared Steve Jobs.
See, I thought it was kind of awkward, to be honest with you.
That's part of the charm.
Because he refuses to prepare. There is no script.
Really?
He says there's no script, but I think he's prepared.
There's no prompter.
How do you know what slides you're going to have?
He just has to press the button, and then he looks back and says, "Oh, now we're going to talk about." So I guess that's a script.
Yeah.
But he said, at the beginning, we're doing this without a net. I don't have. We don't rehearse. It's the exact opposite, the antithesis. Now, speaking as somebody who doesn't rehearse, I think that's just laziness.
Yeah.
That's like,
I think he rehearses.
It's definitely laziness because it takes a lot of PR people and a lot of meetings to get these sort of events together.
Well, at the end, when something didn't work, he said, "I need a human." I need a human, which was a good line.
So GTC, which is Nvidia's, it used to be their GPU technology conference. Now it's just GTC, but is where Nvidia, who is, without doubt, a leader in the hardware that's used to create AI these days, and software to some degree. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So his announcements here are very, very important. He showed, for instance, new chips, new ways. This is a motherboard that is this size of the Blackwell processor into a much smaller 1U rack-mountable motherboard.
Let me ask you, Jason. I said this to Jason today. Even though I don't know what this does, I couldn't use it. It's too expensive for me. The geek in me says, I think I want one of those.
Well, in fact, he did kind of talk about the idea that we might be able to have home AI servers in the near future. They are selling a $3,000 home AI server right now, or will be soon. I don't know if you need a home AI server, but maybe you do.
Well, you destroy humanity, I guess.
Well, no, that won't. That'll never be a big enough. That's the kind of that's an AI tool.
You slap 6 of those together, and Jeff's going to have humanity destroyed in a weekend.
That's an AI tool. But what Wang is showing is the ability to cluster thousands or hundreds of thousands.
What struck me so much about this was that when I watched with Micah, what got me was the scale of it. And he and I talked about that a lot then at the time. Whoa, this goes on. Then the last one I watched was all about the digital twins and how there's systems to check out every possible alternative future. That's the matrix we're not in. This time, it was all, if you go to the very beginning of the full presentation, it's tokens, 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 tokens. And it's not about data. It's not about information. It's about factories to make tokens, which is really about making synthetic data to run these things.
Yeah, they're acquiring a company that creates synthetic data. I think they're all tied together, though, Jeff. Because
they absolutely are. No,
the tokens are a creation of these machines.
It's the emphasis. But rather than saying, he said that a computer is no longer a retriever of files, it is a generator of tokens.
Well, so what he's talking about is that these things are transformers, and the larger the size of data that you can handle, the more data you can handle at one time, the
But it's
better.
more than just the data you handle. It's those relationships that you know of that you use. So
Right.
he said
Well,
the
that's what the
trillions
tokens are.
of
Yeah,
bytes
exactly.
of information
Right.
are used to generate one token. The new chip, he said, will do 12 billion tokens per second.
Well, that's right.
In a
That's
100
a lot
megawatt,
smarter.
in
Yeah.
a 100 megawatt factory, as he kept
Right.
calling it, a factory. And so it was just really interesting to me. And I don't know whether this is good in the sense that it seems to free from the bounds of the data we now have in training. On the other hand, where's the reality to it? If it's all synthetic, if it's all made up, how do you get to ground truth to know that it knows what real is? And he talked about that too. One of the interesting things was because he talked a lot about robotics, and he called that embodied AI. And he said that you need verifiable rewards to train the robotics. And that means that it's the laws of physics. And he said, we need a physics engine. So he announced a partnership with Disney to work on a physics engine to help train it. We've talked about this. The ball goes over the table. Yes, it still exists. The egg drops if you can afford to buy one, and it breaks, right? What happens in real life and how to understand that. So I just find him fascinating, and I find his show fascinating. I don't understand a lot of it. A lot of it is high math.
Wait,
But
what is Disney going to do to teach the AI about the egg?
I think kind of
Pixar.
how. Yeah, it's Pixar. Yeah, I think so.
So
What?
So we've always had physics engines. Every video game
Okay.
has to have
Okay,
a physics
physics
engine. So that
engines
if you
for-
throw
that's
a
the
ball,
missing
the
part.
ball
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
has
Right.
appropriate arc, parabola, and ends up at the right place at the right speed. And I presume that's what we're talking about.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, it's just
one
better
little-
physics engines. So really, to me, what's going on here? I mean, obviously, he's building bigger and bigger machines
Oh,
to
yes.
handle more and more information. We have seen a crisis of data. Once you eat the whole internet, what do you do? And then there's the issue of copyright, and we have a number of stories. Hollywood, musicians, all the creators are saying, stop reading our stuff. I disagree with them. I think they're wrong, but that's become a problem, is protecting copyright. So synthetic data is a way of getting more data, training new models based on generated data as opposed to taking data from other people. But what's interesting is I believe it's just standing on the shoulders of the data you already stole. So it's kind of a snake eating its own tail.
Not with
You can't-
robotics, though. I think
Well,
that
that's
yes, when it
okay.
goes
So that's
text.
to me the most interesting thing. And he brought a little robot out and didn't say anything
Right, well,
about the
that's a
robot.
gimmick. But
the
you talk about
interesting
cars
thing
and how
is
they train cars.
this is
throw
going to be
things
the
at it.
year of robotics, because that's where you get the new data. What the
Yes.
machine in the box
That's
does
the physics
is it's looking
engine.
at language, it's looking at writing, but what it doesn't know very well is what happens when the egg falls off the table. That's why you take these machines, you bring them out into the real world, and you give them, and that's what what Google is showing with this new Gemini platform, this robotics platform. We talked about this last week. This is going to be the year you see a lot of robotics, and he agreed, right? He talked a lot about that.
Oh yeah, he did. He did,
Yeah.
absolutely. What he says it's going to be the next $1 trillion business or $100 trillion business, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Just a little minor point. He named the earlier chip after Grace Hopper.
It's always women, yeah.
No, it's not going to be. David Blackwell was the next one.
Oh, okay.
And he was an American statistician and mathematician. The next is Vera Rubin, who discovered dark matter, and her grandchildren were in the audience, which is kind of cool. And then he dropped real quickly that the next generation is going to be named after Richard Feynman. Isn't
Oh, good.
that cool?
Yeah.
He said there are 30 million software engineers globally. They're all going to have coding aids from all this. I think that's probably true.
Gary Marcus, who was on our show a couple of weeks ago, said synthetic data is fine when you're talking about physics and math, coding, because you can generate more data just using the rules of physics and math and coding. It's a little bit more difficult on general purpose reasoning and open-ended domains,
Yes.
as one would imagine. I think robots are a very promising area, although, again, I don't think Anthony's wrong, a very scary area, because now they're out in the world. And while I'm not too worried about an LLM hurting me, a robot. Have you seen the new Boston Dynamics robots?
You raised
Tried
something
to
last
show.
week,
You
Paris.
showed this last week. Yeah.
You raised something last week, Paris, during that, is that why are they humanoid? And
Why
Well,
are we
because of
making
the
them
environments
walk
that they
on
need
2
to
feet?
depends what they're going to do. But if you are, for instance, a bomb diffusing robot, you might need to go upstairs, open doors, move around in spaces that are designed
modeling
for
them
humans.
after the human body in the vast majority of cases is not the most efficient.
Well, that's why
choice.
there's dogs. That's why the robot that Jensen Huang brought out on stage was just a little thing on a box on wheels.
Honestly, I
We
think
should
the
make
robot
more
need-
robots.
The robot you need to be.
Did I
scared
show?
is the fly
Did I
guy,
actually
the
show
drones.
this video?
Benito's trying to get in.
Yeah, I know. Did I
Yeah,
actually
you
show this
did.
video?
Yes,
you
you did.
did, and we talked about it at length.
Did I really? Did I show him doing somersaults and running around?
He was riding a bike. Maybe is that this one or no? Actually, you didn't show the crawling.
They all look alike. these
That's kind of
robots.
fun. They
I
kind of
don't
do
think
look
I showed
alike.
this one. I think
one,
this is
no.
a newer one. Benito, what were you saying?
I was just saying the robots you really need to be scared of are the drones, the flying ones.
There's all
Those
kinds
are
of
the
robots you
scary
might
ones.
want to be scared of. So yeah, I think that's the whole point of robots is they can have all sorts of form factors. A human form factor is useful for exploring spaces designed for humans. That's all. But drones are great. So are
I will
little
be
rolling
scared
balls.
of a robot when it can do a really impressive lip sync like 2 drag queens
How
on
about
RuPaul's
that?
Drag Race.
How about that? That's better. That's
When
better
it can
breakdancing than at
do
the
a
Olympics.
death drop, then a somersault over a competitor in an improvised move, that'll be the moment I'm scared.
Also, I
you
have
know
a
what-
question of like individuality. Like, are they actually individuals or are they one thing?
They're a network, aren't they?
Yeah. So like,
I
What do you
suppose
mean
it depends.
individuals? I don't understand.
are the robots? Are they individual? Like, for lack of a better word, entities, like people, or is that, or do we count them as all one thing, like a hive?
I think it depends how they're being
They're
controlled.
designed. Yeah, you control
And how they've been designed. I mean, if it's like a 1-to-1 sort of control thing where a person has to be like, robot's going to take a step now and then do a somersault, then that's an individual robot. But if you have like 10 of them moving en masse, you'd probably refer to them as a
You might ask the same question
Group.
about an army brigade. Are they individuals or are
we
they a
consider
unit?
each of them individuals, don't we? We consider each of the individual people. Don't
I think we train
Leo, are
them
you saying that
extensively
you
so that they
don't
will
believe
stop.
the military that our armed forces is made up of individuals?
I think we train them extensively so that they act as a unit, not as
Yeah,
individuals.
same as
the
basketball
one thing you
teams
don't
and
want,
things like that. But you know,
you
they
don't
are,
want
at the end of
soldiers
the
to
day,
act as
they're
individuals.
But at
Because
the end of the day,
individuals
they
protect
are
their-
individuals, though.
I'm
They
gonna
are,
stop
yeah.
talking.
Leo hates the troops. That's what we're learning here.
No, I'm saying that.
I'm joking.
All right.
Well, here's where it's coming closest to you. Here's where it affects your life. Here's where AI is really going to matter, and Nvidia is going to come into your life next time you go order at Taco Bell.
Is this a story? What line?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I have
87.
a feeling.
I have experienced
Yum
this already.
Brands.
I've already experienced
Yum Brands. Well, there have been various efforts. McDonald's did it. Wendy's did it. Now Yum Brands is. Those were failures. Now they're partnering with Nvidia to do AI ordering.
To scale the fast food company's existing Byte by Yum platform,
Great brand, huh? Great brand.
spelled BYTE
Of course.
by Yum. What are they actually doing, though? Park said the company's plan to roll out AI solutions to about 500 restaurants across the 4 Yum brands, including Habit Burger and Grill, in addition to KFC.
Which is very
and Taco
good,
Bell.
by the way. Habit Burger
And Pizza Hut. Interesting.
Taco Bell? So
the last
Wait, no,
time
but
I
what are
drove
they going to
through-
do?
Last time I drove through Burger King, I talked to an AI.
You did.
You did?
Did you try to screw with its head?
No, I didn't. I mean, I wanted to see.
Because
if it
you
worked.
wanted your
I wanted
burger.
to, no, I wanted to see if it actually worked properly. So I just did the thing
Okay.
I was supposed to
Wait,
do.
have you guys been to one of the new KFC drive-through like locations where they have you pull up in like a pre-load area? And well, when I was there, some teens with like computers on their chests took my order, and then you got into a special lane, and then you went through like a whole thing. It was a very streamlined experience.
You
In
are
and
such
Out
a New
Burger does
Yorker.
that.
They've been doing that at In and Out for 10 years.
Yeah.
With really,
She doesn't
You have
even
to move
drive.
to the suburbs because there's lots of land for
with
things
people
like that.
with people
Oh, yes.
outside standing on the street 24 hours.
In and out
Or I
line
guess-
gets real long.
You go to the In-N-Out out by SFO, and they're always jammed, and they're always there.
Yeah, they have to be.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'd be sitting in the line for half an hour without anybody to talk to.
And the neighbors will all be pissed off because the traffic goes up back way
I don't
back,
think it
'cause you
speeds
gotta
things
have
up.
Okay,
Yeah.
I want to hear. Do you like In-N-Out burgers, by the way? I never
Yeah,
heard
they're
your
great.
ruling on that.
I've
But
never
you know
had
where
an
you and-
In-N-Out burger.
Yeah, of course. I love In-N-Out burgers.
Who doesn't love In-N-Out burgers?
They're okay. Leo, I've got to tell you this. When you're in New York for
Yes.
Hank's opening,
Yes.
you need to, Paris, I'm curious whether you've been here, you need to desert him for just one meal and go to American Burger.
Is this
Oh
the one
my.
where you go through the hotel lobby to get to the little kiosk in the
No,
back?
that's all. No, American
I
Burgers.
haven't had a burger from American Burger there.
Hamburger
We've
America.
had some-
Speaking of stories we've done,
Hamburger
we've
America.
definitely talked about American Burger before.
No, Hamburger America. No, I don't
We've
think
talked about
Hamburger America. Okay.
Hamburger America. I'm telling you, they do the onion burger. It's a smash burger, right?
I do like smash burgers because
smash
the
burger.
Maillard
Ones with the
effect is-
onions are just in it like crazy.
Is this the
They
one
do a
on
plain smash
McDougal
burger.
Street?
Yes,
Okay.
right near where Hank's going to be,
Yeah.
and it
Soho.
is unbelievable. Have you been here?
It was founded by a renowned burger scholar.
Yes.
God, I wish I could be.
It is so good. It is killer.
Really? Really?
Scroll down that site and look at the onion burgers there.
This is there he is. There's the renowned burger scholar himself. He's got sideburns to right. Oh, look, see, a smash burger starts as a ball and then
yeah.
they squish it.
But the
That
onion
does
burger
look like a burger scholar.
Yeah,
It does.
You start to render the fat, then you salt it, and the salt mixed in with the rendered beef fat. Then you add the.
Yeah,
Good
now look
Lord,
at
that's a
that.
lot of onions.
Look, it is. And
That's the right amount of onions.
They really
cow.
caramelize the heck out of it.
Yeah. Your onions are trapped
Oh.
in the beef steam. You put the cheese on the bun. Now you have this excitement. Well, I should let the guy speak for himself.
Making me hungry. I'm making myself hungry right now. Sorry.
That's
What we're
George.
doing is recreating classic American burgers and as authentically as possible.
The best.
Burger
The
scholar
best.
George Motz.
He should have mozzarella, of course, but he doesn't.
I do think the smash burger is a significant improvement in.
There's a
burger
place in New Jersey
technology. It
called
is.
White Manna that goes way back to the like 30s, and it's amazing. It's that old diner kind of
Yeah.
thing with the white tiles and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, it's killer, killer.
Google is officially replacing the Google voice assistant with Gemini. This is something Apple could not do. Apple tried.
I think Apple
but
just
Siri
has
is
higher standards.
maybe they have higher standards. I don't think that's the problem. You know, they hired John Giannandrea away from Google, who was a highly respected AI scientist, and they've been working on this. Apple just last week, or maybe 2 weeks ago, announced, it's not going so well. We probably won't have a smart Siri for another year. Google says, hold my beer. Here's a video of Google replacing. It
Yes,
says,
you read that title correctly. The time has finally come. The Google Assistant on your smartphone.
Google is replacing me with Gemini. Wow. Wow. So I think I saw this. You could choose I think I should go get my, you use a Pixel, right, Jeff? Have you seen this?
Well, hello. Who am I?
I know.
Yes.
You're Mr. Google. You're all
You're
in
the
on a
last
dying
bastion
empire.
of Google.
I live La Vida Google. Yeah. Where do I go to find out? I guess let's search the web more.
So the newest Google phones, including the Pixel, did this. So
I have a 6.
Google says millions of people have already, but you have an older Google phone.
Yeah.
So that maybe not coming to you soon. I don't know. So later this month, they say, we believe an assistant should be personal to you and aware of the world around you. See, I don't know why you think this isn't about to happen. It's happening all around us.
And it
should be
can't
able to interact.
add.
Oh, this is agentic. It should be able to interact with the apps and services you already use, and it should make you more productive, more creative, and a bit more curious. It's about time something made you a bit more curious.
What are you talking about?
I'm reading the press release.
How will this make me more curious?
Well,
how are we even remotely close to a future where AI is going to kill us all because it's so super powerful and autonomous?
Thank you. Yes.
Come on.
You're going to be sorry sometime. I'm going to be, Jeff and I are going to be long gone, but you're going to be sorry. You're the one who's going to have to suffer with all
Who was
this.
right?
Yeah, you're going to have to arbitrate this. An exec overseeing Siri told staff the delays were ugly, made worse by Apple publicly promoting the new features, and it's unclear when they were shipped. This is Mark Gurman, the Bloomberg rumor guru. Ugly and embarrassing.
Jesus.
That's bad. There's a history for that, though. Steve Jobs famously pulled the Mobile Me team into the auditorium and screamed at them, saying, "You're hurting the company." He said to them, "What is Mobile Me supposed to do?" And they said, "It's the cloud." And he said, "Well, why doesn't effing do it? Why doesn't it effing do it?" During the all-hands gathering, Robbie Walker, who serves as a senior director at Apple, during an all-hands gathering, suggested employees on his team may be feeling angry, disappointed, burned out, and embarrassed after the features were postponed. They should feel embarrassed, he says. But he said, "You developed incredibly impressive features, and someday we will deliver an industry-leading virtual assistant."
One day.
One day soon.
What I would love to know is the spec, which of course they never released. What was the spec? What was their expectation? What did they think it was going to do? Looking at all the competitors, what was
historically, and this is, I think, the same problem Amazon's having. It's hard to take. I think we talked about this. A voice assistant that is really there to play music, buy stuff on Amazon, set timers, and to turn it into a ChatGPT style AI chatbot. They're very different tracks. Yeah. You can't just flip a switch and make it do that. And I think that both Amazon and Apple are having that difficulty. So anyway, here's a thing that I don't know if people are happy about, but Google's Gemini AI is really good at watermark removal, according to Umar Shakir writing in The Verge. It can cleanly replace the Getty Images watermark with an edited with AI watermark, if you should so choose.
I do this for the show every week because of the Intelligent Machines watermark at the top left. I get rid of that. Yep.
Really?
Really?
Why is there a watermark on our?
It's not a watermark.
It's replacing. It's replacing the watermark with my books.
The little icon on the top left. The Intelligent Machines icon. I removed
this
that
thing.
for the thumbnail.
You have to replace that.
Yeah, I have to just get rid of it for the thumbnail, and I do that every week with Yep.
And what do you
what
use
AI
to do that?
tool?
No, there's that thing in Photoshop. You just select it and say fill, and it does.
Okay, now you've got to trick it, Paris, since it's always you. You've got to put up something that is not expected. The first 4 letters of a word, and see what it makes up.
Yeah, I do. I was imagining a large cowboy hat, but that'd probably be more fun.
And it really does an amazing job. It really looks like it was part of the picture. That's one of those tools that makes me a believer in that.
If you think about it, that's
it's a long step from that
exactly
to destroying mankind, but yes, it's impressive.
It's exactly what an LLM does, which is it's looking. There's now an area and it has to predict what the next pixel would be.
This is exactly what it's good at. Exactly what it's good at.
Yeah, there is a long way from that to a world-destroying robot, but
but it's good. It's really good.
Oh, it's just days away.
You're going to be sorry when this show is replaced by a robot.
Of the show where we just threaten me.
You're going to be
sorry. You're going to be sleeping with the
Hollywood.
fishes, kid.
Hollywood is very worried about the AI industry's push to change copyright law. And when I say Hollywood, I mean Chris Rock, Aubrey Plaza, and Paul McCartney, among hundreds of others who signed an open letter to the government. Good luck with that. Challenging OpenAI and Google. They sent it to the White House Office of Science and Technology. I don't know if there's anybody there to receive it. 400 members of the entertainment community expressed concerns about the wish lists of AI companies for the U.S. AI Action Plan. Oh, we have an AI Action Plan.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. An AI action plan.
You need action. Those recommendations, the letter warned, could severely damage the entertainment community.
I love cueing that part of Leo. It's just the greatest.
Which supports more than 2.3 million jobs, whose wages are currently $229 billion a year. So there. The group urged the Trump administration not to sacrifice America's leadership in the world of entertainment in the race to dominate AI. Where do you stand on this? I mean, this is what Kathy Gellis calls the right to read. These actors, directors, and musicians don't mind it if I go to their movie, watch the movie, and then tell a friend what it was about. Or do they? Maybe they want to also legislate against spoilers. They probably would if they could.
It's not that simple. It is, I mean, we've had this discussion a million times in the show, but part of what the problem is here is, should a for-profit entity be able to scoop up large amounts of content that typically require being, like, each movie, if you wanted to purchase it, you'd actually have to spend money to buy a disc or spend money to go see it. Should you be able to scoop that up for free en masse and then use it to generate profit? I would argue no. And most of these companies and products have clauses in their terms of contract saying, even if you buy a DVD of Twin Peaks, like I have many times, that doesn't mean that I can then take all of Twin Peaks and sell it, part of it, and use part of it in my own things. But why is it when an AI does it, that's
They're not
cool?
selling Twin Peaks. They're just watching.
They're learning how mountains look like.
Yeah, they're learning.
They're learning to speak. Yeah. It's another matter if they wrote a script and it was Twin Peaks. Yes, it's another matter if they stole it. Well, but then it should. Then I would agree. There's three cases here. One is training, and to me that is fair use and transformative. If that's all it really does, it's teaching you to speak or to draw. Two is acquisition. If you steal it, then that's an issue, but that's an issue in all law that existed before. And three is quoting. If you quote it at length without licensing, that's wrong. I think we have to separate those things.
I think part of the issue, though, is these systems and tools are not learning. They're not reading. They're not watching a movie. They are, their code bases. It is a data set that is being improved in some ways and then having prediction capabilities based on that content. And where is it getting the output that it is getting? It is getting it from the things that are put into it. It's not coming up with new words and new thoughts. It's ingesting material and then making predictions based off of that.
Based on a trillion tokens, as my hero Jensen said. So it's the applicability of who got what. Let me ask a different question, Paris. So let's go with the presumption that we're going to all have AI everywhere. It's going to be in charge of the world. And it's not necessarily bad, but we're going to have.
I would disagree with that presumption, but all right.
I did earlier too. I'm just trying to go with the punchline, go with the joke. So if we presume that society is going to use AI like crazy, do we want smarter AIs or stupider AIs? Is there a question of enabling them to be better? Because
I'll give you another question in response to your question.
Oh,
let's say we're back in the day of the horse and buggy. This dear old guy comes up and says, "I've got this newfangled invention called the car. Imagine that someday in the future, soon, I can tell you with absolute certainty everybody's going to be wanting to drive one of these, and using it to get everywhere. Do you want your car to be able to get you places quickly, much like the horse, but even faster? Well, then we should never even think about these things like seat belts or windshields. That could just, slow down the innovation. That could just slow down the innovation of our car product. So we should really just focus on the stuff that makes it better.
If it didn't watch Twin Peaks, could I do this? Can you explain what the hell's going on in Twin Peaks?
I haven't seen the last season. Don't let it spoil
yourself.
it
This is a television series created by David Lynch and Mark Frost, and it's known for its complex, surreal, and often unsettling narrative.
It's like your friend.
Here's a breakdown of what's going on. The basic premise. The series begins with the murder of Laura Palmer, a popular high school student in the seemingly idyllic town.
Now, if it hadn't watched it, would it be able to give you this valuable information?
Well, that it got from lots and lots and lots of reviews.
Hey, who
and online
killed
discussion.
Laura Palmer? Do you know?
Hey, if you haven't listened to watch Twin Peaks, pause the podcast right
Laura
now.
Palmer is complex, as it involves both a human perpetrator and a supernatural entity.
What? I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's a lot of stuff I didn't know when I started Twin Peaks that I was really surprised by, and it was a delight. If you somehow for the last 30 years haven't watched Twin Peaks, don't let Leo ruin it for you.
No. But I love Paul McCartney, Cynthia Erivo, Cate Blanchett. These are all signatories to this letter. Phoebe Waller-Bridge, Bette Midler, Cate Blanchett, Paul Simon, Ben Stiller, Aubrey Plaza, Ron Howard, Taika Waititi, Ayo Edebiri, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Janelle Monáe,
All right,
Rian Johnson, Paul Giamatti, Maggie Gyllenhaal, Alfonso Cuarón. These are the cultural icons of our generation. Olivia Wilde, Judd Apatow, Chris Rock, Mark Ruffalo, all of them. But then if I said, but do you not want me to go see the movie either? They would say, no, please go see our movie. Look, I understand. This is an existential threat to them. I completely understand, and I feel for them. But should we let the buggy whip makers prevent us from getting the Model T?
I don't think that's what's I think people are saying the Model T shouldn't,
follow the rules.
The Model T should follow the rules that everybody else has to follow.
Right.
Well, okay, but let's stay there. Journalists read each other. And probably
journalists do not have a photographic memory of every single thing that they have read.
That's true. The AI
does
a better job.
And then they are not immediately that photographic memory is not immediately searchable and interactable by any Joe Schmo in the world for right now free, but soon to be, it's a paid product.
I think, look, you both are right. But the good news is when the superintelligence comes, we won't have to worry about any of this.
Because we'll be dead.
We might not be dead. We might just be batteries.
Lodge.
They're going to need somebody to feed the coal into the burners or something. Whatever it is, the nuclear rods into the reactors. All right, let's take a little break.
Sorry. Yeah, go ahead. Take your break.
Go ahead. No, Benito, please.
I think what it really comes down to is not necessarily that the computer's reading, is that they're charging us back the stuff that we put into it. That's what I disagree with. Like, why are you going to charge me for this? I put the data in.
How did you learn to talk, Benito?
We all put the data in.
How did you learn to talk? Didn't you listen to a bunch of people?
Yeah,
did you pay them back, by the way, for all the tokens?
My school got paid very properly.
Okay, that's good. You went to a better school. I mean, people. This is how it happens. What the complaint is not that it's happening to people. It's happening to machines. Is what people don't like. The machines are doing it. But believe me, when the machines take over, you're going to be sorry you were so negative about the machines.
It's not even that machines are doing it. It is that the machines that are the product of incredibly large and well-funded corporations are doing it. It is that
I would do it, but I can't afford to.
It's that all of our art and creative output and anything in humanity, even stuff that people are wanting to keep either private or at least behind a paywall, is being fed into someone else's product, and they are making money off it.
We have all contributed to it. We have all contributed to this thing.
It's called culture.
Exactly.
It's our culture.
So why are we getting charged for it then? It should come back right to us, right?
Well, every novelist learns from earlier novelists. Every filmmaker learns from other filmmakers. How many filmmakers owe Alfred Hitchcock money?
I think that's a false equivalence because
why? They learn from him. They use his same techniques.
It's a difference of scale and it's a difference of kind. It's a difference of both things.
Nice try.
No, we can disagree. I think this is reasonable disagreement.
I think Benito has a very valid point.
Yeah.
Is that a random filmmaker or a very important filmmaker, whatever the scale, is not the same as a company that is raising trillions of dollars on the promise of we will steal everybody else's stuff.
So let's say the filmmaker is Disney. Oh no, it's a huge corporation.
I'm really
Disney
I'm a little frosted that Disney stole all the Grimm brothers material and then copyrighted it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Disney
kind of the same thing. So that's kind of the
is
same
people
thing.
get mad at Disney and sue Disney when Disney does this stuff. So I would agree, Disney's a great example of this. We should treat the AI companies like we've treated Disney.
Well, that's to say pass laws that do just what they want to do is where that goes.
All right, we do have to take a break. You're watching a very good argument, and I wish there were an answer to all of this, and I don't think there is. That's the thing, and there's reasonable people can disagree, and I don't know.
That's what we're here to do every week.
What the answer is.
Every week.
Jeff Jarvis is here. I didn't get a chance to do this earlier, so I will do it now. The Emeritus Professor of Journalistic Innovation at the case is the Reg Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of New York. He is now at Montclair State University and SUNY Stony Brook. Great to have you, Jeff. And of course, Paris Martineau, who is filing a big story. You were working hard this week at The Information.
I was.
Anything you could tell us?
Story coming this weekend, allegedly, about Section 230. Keep it.
Oh, good.
I got one question for you. Is Mike Masnick going to be proud of you?
Yeah?
You know about Mike's famous page, yes?
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah, I've listened to his podcast, which is recently.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
Yes.
Mike is God when it comes
He's
to
the defender of the 23 words that
he is
saved the
King
internet.
Arthur of the 230.
26, yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Good. I think this is good. I'm glad. I can't wait to read it. That's exciting. That's really good. This is a lot of, it's under assault right now, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah.
It has been since for the last decade. This episode of Intelligent Machines brought to you by our friends at Zscaler, the leader in cloud security. So the situation we're in right now, not so hot. Enterprises have been spending billions of dollars on perimeter defenses, firewalls, right? And then VPNs so that you can get into work through the firewall. Has this fixed everything? No. Breaches continue to rise. There was an 18% year-over-year increase last year in ransomware attacks. You think it's going to be less? No, it's going to be worse this year. Last year, a record payout, $75 million in ransomware ransoms last year, and that is going to go up, of course, this year. See, the problem is traditional security tools actually make you less secure. They expand your attack surface, giving you public-facing IP addresses that bad actors can go, yeah, there they are, and hang their hat on it. And now they're doing it more easily and faster than ever with AI tools. Plus, once the bad guys get in, most security tools just assume, well, they must be an employee, so they let them have at it. They can access all the software. They can access all the data. They can move laterally throughout your entire network, find the stuff you'd be most embarrassed about, exfiltrate it, encrypted packets through your firewall, which is struggling to inspect those encrypted packets, and you've got a problem. The fact is, hackers are exploiting our traditional security infrastructure, and they're doing it faster than ever with AI. It's time to rethink security. You can't let these guys win. Well, that's why you want to check out Zscaler Zero Trust plus AI, puts AI on your side. First of all, it stops attackers by hiding your attack surface. Apps are invisible. IP addresses invisible. Bad guys can't attack what they can't see. It also eliminates lateral movement because users can only connect to specific apps they've been approved to connect to, not the entire network. And it continuously verifies every request based on identity and context. Plus, it uses AI to make your life better. It simplifies your security management using AI-powered automation. And of course, Zscaler uses AI. They analyze over 500 billion transactions every single day, and they use AI to find the real threats because the mass of those transactions are legit. They're the needles in the haystack, the real threats, and that's where AI comes in really handy. So bottom line, hackers, they can't attack what they can't see. It's time to protect your organization. Hide those IP addresses, hide those apps from the bad guys with Zscaler Zero Trust plus AI. Learn more at zscaler.com/security. Put AI to work for you. Zscaler.com/security. We thank them so much for their support of intelligent machines. Ooh. There was an interview with, it's not just movie stars, video game voice actors are also losing their jobs because, of course, in fact, it makes the games better. Let's face it. A video game actor might have to come in and record 50,000 lines. So there's a variety in your, they talk, don't they? In your Baldur's Gate 3, they talk.
Yeah. And the voice actors were a really integral part of character development.
Right.
They did motion cap, and I think it's one of the most captivating performances I've seen in a video game, at least in recent memory, because the voice actors were so integrally involved with all the different line reads and all the different changes, which wouldn't happen if you just used AI to crank out any new change.
Well, Sony thinks so. Ashly Burch is the award-winning voice and performance actor behind Alloy in Horizon Zero Dawn.
A video game, may I add, about AI superintelligence being essentially destroying the world because it is used for war machines. Then they become autonomous and take over the world and rid it of human life.
Meta on meta.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a video, it's now taken down, of a Sony experiment, a leaked video that saw Alloy voiced and performed by AI technology. Ashly saw it and was not happy. She said, well, I'll let her speak in her own words.
I wanted to talk about AI Aloy.
Oh, it's Aloy. I mispronounced it. Oh, she got quiet.
It's a long video.
Okay, so you get the idea. She says, having seen the demo, she's worried, and not just about her own career, she's worried about the art form. Yeah, there's a whole transcript.
Yeah, I mean, I think in this case they said it was just an internal test. They have no plans of replacing her, blah blah. But I think this is still a really important issue. I mean, members of SAG-AFTRA are currently on strike related to this.
If you're right, and Baldur's Gate 3 or 4 is not as good because of AI voices, it will hurt them commercially, won't it?
I mean, in the long run, a bunch of people are still going to buy Baldur's Gate 4, even though it's not going to be produced by Larian Studios, which made Baldur's Gate 3 and the other ones.
So you're already...
So it's going to be bad already.
Larian did make the first.
Or I guess Larian made the third. Sorry.
Okay. I mean, that's the thing. If the AI is not as good, it's not going to work. If, on the other hand, an AI is as good as a real actor...
Well, you last week thought that OpenAI's story was good. We made fun of you. And by
you laughed at me, but you know what? I'm not alone.
No, you're not. No,
there's a Guardian, a real live actual writer.
Guardian, for Christ's sakes.
She's a novelist. Jeanette Winterston, writing a piece in The Guardian, said that metafictional short story that Sam Altman presented and I read a little bit of last week is beautiful and moving. So
Guardian.
there.
Add 2, Guardian.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
She says she doesn't like AI. The alternative to it she prefers is alternative intelligence, not artificial intelligence. Because in all the fear and anger foaming around AI just now, its capacity to be other is what the human race needs, she says. I should have mentioned this to Anthony Aguirre. Our thinking is getting us nowhere fast except towards extinction or via planetary collapse or global war. We need this alternative brain to help us get past. She's not wrong. Humans have not done a good job.
Yeah, that's interesting argument.
There's been a lot of fuss, she writes, and rightly so, about robbing creatives of their copyright to train AI. Tech bros need to pay for what they want. They pay lawyers and lobbyists, pay artists. It really is that simple. Okay. But what is not as simple is the future of human creativity as AI systems get better at being creative. She likes it. AI reads us. Now it's time for us to read AI, she says.
I don't know. It means nothing.
Yeah.
Well, you made that point, Benito, that the short story however well written, if it's not representing a human point of view, if there's no heart beating behind it, it's just not as good.
The point of art is for humans to imbue meaning into it.
Right.
Like then, if that part doesn't happen, what's the point?
No, I agree. Let humans make art. Let the AIs make paper clips. Fine. I don't think AI should be. I don't. The AI image generation and all of that, the music generation. Let's not. That makes wallpaper. Humans should make the art. I agree. And we should have more time to make art because the AI is putting our babies to sleep.
So you agree that with their copyright concerns?
Yeah, I mean, I understand their copyright concerns. And you're right. I agree with you. If it's some big company making a lot of money off of it, it's the least they could do is at least pay for a ticket to the movie.
Yeah, I think this is the fundamental disagreement we're having, is that we're not really talking about the technology. We're complaining about the companies.
The companies, yeah.
The technology is the technology. It's neutral, right?
Yeah, largely.
Well, never fully.
I have to say, one book that I am enjoying reading is this banned tome.
How is it?
Oh, yeah.
So the minute I read that Meta and Mark Zuckerberg were trying to shut Sarah Wynne Williams down for her memoir of her time at Meta, I just had to buy it. It's called The Streisand Effect, and it really works. I had read an excerpt already about her, the one where Sheryl Sandberg invites her to join her in their first class airplane bed. Boudoir. And there's a lot of, it's juicy as hell. Paul Thurrott's reading it. He did the same thing. He said, well, if they're going to ban it, I better buy it now. So it's probably sold a lot more because of that.
Oh, yeah.
It's so dumb. It's juicy. He doesn't like it because there's no technology in it. Well, no, it's just it's sex.
Robot throat.
Yeah, he's a robot. I have only read a little bit of it, but it's tea, spilling the tea. But it just shows you if you don't like something, the worst thing you can do is sue them so that you get a lot of headlines.
Do you know Katie Harbath?
I know that name. Why do I know?
So she was a policy person at Meta, formerly known as
Facebook,
and she's left. I think she's at the Aspen Institute now. Oh. So she wrote a piece, and she thinks that Joel Kaplan was a wonderful boss. She countered
the narrative.
She countered the narrative.
Yeah.
And she said there were some things that were true and some things that were sloppy and wrong. And, you got to go back and forth.
We just don't know. I mean, honestly, I don't know if it's true or not. But all I do know is when you try to suppress a work of nonfiction or fiction, you're just going to make people want to read.
The amazing thing about it is you think that Joel Kaplan, who's in charge, who's now the new president of PR basically there, would know better, would be more sophisticated about this.
Yeah, it's not very sophisticated. They got an arbiter to say that the author cannot talk about it, promote it. They couldn't really stop the publishers. They tried.
They can't. No, they can't.
Well, I know so many people who've started reading it in the last week just because of this news cycle. Like literally, as we were getting on this podcast, the skee ball group chat was popping off with people being like, oh, I'm listening to the audiobook of Careless People now after I heard about the suit. It's such a classic example of the Streisand effect at work.
So when I left Time Inc., when I walked out of Entertainment Weekly, they were happy to see me go. They would have fired me. I quit. But I would not sign the managing editor's contract at Time Inc. because it had
an NDA.
Clause. Yeah. And I said it's wrong for a journalist to do that. If I had signed it, and if I had arranged for them to fire me,
nice little check, I bet.
3 years salary, bonus, and benefits.
You are a man of principle.
I know the price of principle to the penny. Young and foolish as I was. 3 years.
When we, of course, as any sensible company does, put a non-disparagement clause into our severance agreements, and usually it is tied to you want your severance, but I think we've waived it. I think we don't.
In California, that's also illegal now.
You can't do a non-disparagement?
I thought it was just
tied to severance.
Really? Oh,
well,
this is a recent
what we were
ruling.
talking about is probably what they were giving Jeff, which is over and above the legal requirement.
Well, this was many years ago. So
yeah, they didn't have to give you 3 years or offer you 3 years, I'm sure.
3 years is ridiculous.
That's a lot. That's
golden parachute time.
And have you disparaged them? Have you exercised
Well, so
your
that's the thing.
Well,
That's
he
the
went
thing.
into it in depth in his book, Magazine. I knew the story from Magazine.
Right, because I kept the documents and I wrote about it. Now, of course, the company is basically dead and gone.
So nobody cares.
So nobody would have cared. So when I was at Condé Nast at Advance, I said, fire me, because they fire really well. Oh, they fire so well, but they wouldn't fire me.
Damn it.
I tried. God,
Damn
I tried.
So, as you know, I like Perplexity, but maybe now I should think again.
Yeah, this was interesting, wasn't it?
Yeah. The Daily Wire has announced a new advertising partnership with Perplexity and my favorite guy, Ben Shapiro. I don't understand. Is this an ad? What is he doing? How is this? So
he's reading ads for Perplexity?
it won't utilize Shapiro's quintessential rapid fire reads. Shapiro will integrate the AI technology into his how come I can't get some money into his regular reporting and utilize the tool to ask questions in real time, getting information straight from the internet to supplement his commentary. He's getting paid to do what I'm doing. I'm paying them. Oh well, he's a big star, right?
In certain circles.
In certain circles. Apparent. Now, I don't know if this is true. You put this in here.
I did.
Is Grok going to merge with Perplexity?
I found that just hard to believe, but I put it in here because it's...
This is from who is the American Bazaar?
I don't know. So this is...
Perplexity might be looking to partner up with Grok. Apparently, Perplexity's CEO, Aravind Srinivas, hinted at a potential integration of the two AI models. This is his X post. Let me read it. It says, hopefully soon.
We'll go up.
No.
Or down, whatever you call that, since you're such a bad scroller.
The two best, so Aravind is saying the two best AIs now for real-time information. Okay, so this is a complete misunderstanding of how Perplexity works. Perplexity has multiple models.
That's what I was thinking it was.
You can choose from in Perplexity.
So it just adds another model you can choose
from. So I'm guessing that this is not a merger of Perplexity,
right,
and that's a misunderstanding. It would just be that Grok would be one of the engines I could choose.
That makes me feel better.
I'm sure that's the case.
It's got to be.
Let me look at what the current engines are that I can choose.
You're telling me you could engage sexy mode on Perplexity while you're doing your deep research?
I could. You know what? All I care about is voices now. I just want better voices. That's all I really care about. Let me look and see what models.
Because he's a radio guy. He likes voices.
I care. So right now I'm using Sonnet, Claude 3.7 Sonnet. The default is their own kind of mishmash. It says optimized for fast search. There's Sonar, which is an advanced model trained by Perplexity. Probably not trained by, but tuned by, my guess. But anyway, 4.0, 4.5, Sonnet, Gemini 2.0 Flash. Yeah, Grok 2. Oh, you know what? People have been saying, where's Grok 3? Where's Grok 3? That's what it is. That's all. Where's Grok 3? I bet you that's all it is.
Back to liking Perplexity, did you see the ad they did? Dunking on Google?
I didn't.
Can you play it? I don't know.
I can't imagine why they wouldn't want us to. You'd think. Yeah, I got it.
Always winning ads on this show.
So it's an ad with a Korean star
of Squid Game.
Oh, he's the Squid Game guy. Uh-oh. Right? Now he's in Severance. Or is it Squid Game? Uh-oh.
Yeah, it seems Squid Game-esque.
Welcome to your challenge.
It is Squid Game. They probably spent a lot of money on it.
Answer 3 questions.
How do you remove coffee stains from a white shirt?
It's getting very cold.
So they're going to freeze him unless he can answer that. So he launches Poogle. And Poogle says...
Oh no,
there's a bunch of text. You have
he's
to be
got
able to read it.
Perplexity. Where knowledge
커피 얼룩을 지우는 방법은?
This is
and rinse the stain for excess liquid. Then detergent and vinegar will get it right out.
He holds it up to the screen.
Oh, saved.
Then he got
comes
it.
on.
Correct.
진짜에 잘 붙게 하는 방법은
How do I make cheese stick to a pizza? Google, of course, said Elmer's glue. Who was the first Korean actor to win an Emmy Award?
대한민국 최초로 에미상을 수상한 남자는
Oh, he knows the answer to that.
That's really good, isn't it?
That's a great ad. I don't know. Where would they show that? Well, they just showed it on the Intelligent Machines show.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
More free things you do for people.
Lisa's gonna kill me. I mean, I give them an ad all the time because I use it all the time.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Thing is, there's no stickiness to any of these, right?
No.
You just move to whatever works best for the moment, and that seems to be a moving target all the time. Google has announced a new healthcare AI updates for its search. So
What?
it's knowledge panels. You know, those knowledge panels now cover thousands more health topics.
Well, this is, you scroll on down or up, whatever you call it.
The page goes up, my finger goes down.
So the company, no, go back. Beginning of the story. Oh, jeez, you're so bad. Okay, stop. Twitchy finger. The company unveiled a new feature called What People Suggest, which uses AI to pull together.
Oh, no, that's bad.
I know, online commentary.
That's
from patients
bad.
with similar diagnoses.
No.
Well, I rubbed grapefruit on my tumor and it went away.
That's what we have Reddit for. We don't need Google to do that.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
But if AI is doing it, I don't know. I'm just nervous.
Well, Reddit now has a feature in the app where you can search all the Reddit comments like it's an AI engine, basically.
Yeah.
Where you can type in the app, like, and I assume it's also in the browser. I just don't know. Where you could message it being like, I have a grapefruit-sized lump on my head. What do I... I guess now I don't know what might come up with that.
Who powers
what
this?
should I do?
Is it OpenAI?
Reddit.
Is that their deal? No,
it's their
they're
own
using
thing.
all the content from Reddit.
No, but
So
what's the model? What model?
I don't know.
I think it's theirs, but I don't know. Who knows?
They made it?
Seek immediate medical attention. Here are some insights from Redditors on similar experiences and advice. This is exactly why Google's doing this, isn't it?
Yeah.
Contact your doctor, emergency room. It could be a lipoma, it could be a cyst, it could be a tumor. How they would diagnose
fatty
it.
Tumor that is usually soft and movable.
This is actually really good. I mean, they're not.
You
that's
heard it here
good.
first. Leo says go to Reddit for all your medical advice.
Yeah, this is great.
That's how the machine's going to kill us all.
How is baby made? Oh my God, they're telling me how. Kids, hide your eyes.
A fascinating and complex process. Yeah, you bet it is.
Here's a succinct guide to understanding how babies are made. Well, this is a lot better than the Yahoo answer.
Based on insights from Reddit. That's where I always want my insights on
the
sex.
best spatula. Because that's really what I use Reddit for, is like recommendations. Fish spatula.
Silicone
spatula. Wooden spatula.
Well, okay, look
metal.
up a fish. Do you know what a fish
They are
spatula
giving.
is?
Look, the Wusthof fish turner is the best
What's
metal
a fish?
spatula.
I've never heard of one before. What makes it a special?
A fish spatula?
Yeah.
You've never seen a fish spatula?
No.
I was watching my favorite.
That's what you call that. Oh, okay.
It's funny shape. Yeah.
This is a fish
Oh, you got
spatula.
one. Yeah, there you go.
No, not according to Google. Oh, hold on here.
Right?
It's
if you Google
Am I
it, you get a very
wrong?
different answer. Google fish spatula. Hard to say, by the way.
This is the best fish spatula.
You get the thing with the
yours has tines. There's
Okay,
also
I've got one of those too, but I'm not going to go get it.
Okay.
So you have a bunch of fish spatulas. This is great. This is all Redditors. And see, what's. Oops. What?
What?
I just typed what?
Reddit answers couldn't quite figure out what you meant.
The best maple syrup that doesn't come from Canada because they can't get it from Canada anymore.
Well, you can.
Yeah, for double the
costs
price. Escumniac late harvest. Escumniac or Kirkland. Not getting my maple syrup at Costco.
Hey, Costco's great.
Chalk Zero. Lacanto. No, I'm going to go with this because it sounds weird.
Because it sounds like it's going to be expensive. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
Escumnia. Oh, yes. It's only $27 for how big is that bottle? 500 milliliter bottle.
Look at that. Compare that to Costco. Go to the Costco.
This is going to be so
Well, that's
good.
$27 Canadian.
Oh. Yeah, you're right. Canadian. So I don't know what are there tariffs on
$2 then, right?
Is there a maple syrup?
There's a tariff on everything.
Everything.
Oh.
Can you query a
Costco.
specific sub? Can you query just one specific subreddit?
Yeah, I'm sure you can narrow it down. The funny thing is, Costco's is known for its good quality and value, available in large quantities. You need 5 gallons of syrup? Costco's got it. Here it is.
$20.
Actually, look at this. This is the Kirkland that comes in a whiskey bottle. Pure organic maple syrup. Now that's 740 milliliters for $23. It's Canada Grade A.
Yep.
Sirop d'érable.
All right,
I wonder if the Kenneth Kirkland guys have done a thing on maple syrup. Do you guys know of these people?
No.
It's a TikTok group. It's a TikTok group that I think is a band, maybe named Morning Trips. I can't recall, but they've become popular on TikTok for this series they do called Kenneth Kirkland, where they compare brand name liquors at first against Kirkland brand liquors in kind of a blind taste test. But they've since branched out to other things, and I assume they'd have thoughts on maple syrup.
I did ask who the best skee ball player is in the world. And while it can't help me with that, it did say there are skee ball leagues. There's
there you go.
a league in San Francisco. There's high scores. It's just skee ball strategy. You might want to visit r/skee ball for all your skee ball needs.
A lot of it is photos of skee ball.
You already know about this.
I mean, maybe I should get on there.
Just got a skee ball machine paint damage. Designed and printed a skee ball game. That's hysterical. Is this the kind of skee ball here that you play?
Yeah, that's the kind of skee ball.
Yeah.
That's the classic one.
That's
Sometimes there's
classic.
a little thing in front of the holes, but that's all right.
When you get your stock at the information and you're very rich from it, and you buy
we
your
don't get
mansion.
stock.
Well, let's imagine you buy your mansion on the Hamptons, and in the basement, are you going to buy a skee ball machine of your very own?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
In my fantasy mansion that I get from the acts of journalism.
Who was it that was it LBJ that put a bowling alley in? That
was Nixon.
In the White House. It was Nixon. That's right.
That's what went over the pool. I think. Right.
Yeah, he put it over the.
That became the press room. That's what the press room is now.
That's where the press room is.
Yeah.
Whoa.
What did they do before then?
I don't know.
They stand out in the Rose Garden?
Maybe. Well, ask Reddit. I don't know.
Google plans to release new open AI models for drug discovery.
That's
good. I'm always looking for new drugs.
Yep. Yeah, especially now.
During a health-focused event in New York on Tuesday, Google announced that it's developing a collection of open AI models. That's not capital O open. That's lowercase open.
It's in air quotes.
Air quotes. Open AI models.
As Jason and I like to say, it's open-ish.
Open-ish. Open weight. I've been using open weight lately.
Okay.
For drug discovery called TX Gemma. It will be released through its AI Developer Foundation Health AI Developer Foundations program later this month. You can understand regular text, the structures of different therapeutic entities, chemicals, molecules, and proteins. I mean, I think this is a very promising area, right? We know that it can come up with new proteins and protein folding.
Oh, it's very promising.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know that there's going to be a huge process. If you discover a molecule that looks promising and you get as far as you can with it, then there's a process. I don't know. There was a process that we went through to approve drugs. God knows now.
Yeah, I mean, this is...
Hey, RFK Jr., you like this one? Is this one's okay?
This is the stuff. This is really the stuff. That's the stuff, right? That AI should be doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody agrees.
Yeah.
Although I did see that they've removed mentions of mRNA vaccines from the NIH, which is also very important for cancer research. They now have designer cancer drugs. They do a genetic sample of your cancer and then design a drug that's aimed specifically at it.
As a 2-time loser, winner, I should say.
You are a winner. You're still here. You're with us.
Still here. But yeah, you really, really want advances in these areas.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. You said skee ball and the best skee ball player in the world. I went down a whole rabbit hole.
Is there one?
I mean, there's contention between Joey the cat, who's been a very good skee ball player, and another person who, Rafi Futterman, perhaps, who is upset.
One from Queens, one from Brooklyn, perhaps.
We want to see
San Francisco, New York City, or New Jersey.
Is there video? I want video.
I'm trying to find it. I've realized that there's been a recent upset happened at a local skee ball bar here in Brooklyn, which I didn't realize they were hosting national championships.
Whoa, you got to be there.
I do have to be there.
1 in 4
league.
I mean, I wouldn't. I think it's a co-ed typically, but the skee ball bar that this took place at is Full Circle Bar, which makes sense because every time I go there, they have their own skee ball league that we don't participate in because
they're good,
insanely good, and it makes sense that this is where the world champions play because I am always like, what? How are you that good? But that's how.
Video? Is there a video of this guy? I want to see video.
Joey the cat.
Joey the cat.
Search the skee ball kid versus Joey the cat because those are.
Did they bring their own balls or something? Like, do they have like
Probably.
their own tools and stuff?
Oh, that's funny. That's
actually no.
Like
maybe
glove,
it's gotta be. It's gotta be standardized, right? Here, I'll put this.
Wait a minute. This is who will win the national skee ball championship.
All eyes are on me, and the crowd's cheering.
That's.
Is that Joey the cat?
Listen, I don't know.
The big mustache. There's the kid. That's got to be Joey.
First time I ever played skee ball was
Full Circle
Ball. That's Full Circle.
Okay, I want to see the full.
We're walking Point Pleasant in New Jersey.
This is frustrating.
I mean, look, if you could televise bowling, you could televise this.
Because I liked it and I could play a bunch for $5.
So, did I tell you about the Swifts in typesetting?
No, what's that?
No.
Typesetting, one letter at a time, became a spectator sport. It was the honest to God, it was the bowling or golf of the day. They would have week-long tournaments, and people would watch typesetters set type and win money. Yeah, and they toured. It stopped because the International Typographical Union forced them to stop because the typesetting machine, the linotype that I'm writing about, came along, and they didn't want a John Henry man v. machine defeat.
Whoa.
Isn't that great?
That's crazy.
EFF is concerned about California AB 412. They say a bill that could crush startups and cement a big tech AI monopoly.
This is going to bring us back to the prior conversation.
The bill demands that creators of any AI model, even a 2-person company or a hobbyist tinkering with a small software build, identify copyrighted materials used in training. You'd have to have a list.
So EFS says this is going to kill the little guys and stop competition with the big guys. Timnit Gebru on LinkedIn said that's all bogus. If you take ingredients for your stew, then don't you pay for them, which is going to Paris's argument here.
Yeah, EFF, which I generally trust on these kinds of things. This is Joe Mullen. Writing says, even for major tech companies, meeting these obligations would be a daunting task for a small startup. Throwing on such an impossible requirement could be a death sentence. They'll be forced to devote scarce resources to an unworkable compliance regime instead of focusing on development and innovation. And EFF's position is that AI training is like reading, and it's very likely fair use. So they agree with Kathy Gellis and Jeff Jarvis, and I guess I include myself, although I'm on the fence. I am sympathetic with creators' point of view. So
I'm not sure that it's an impossible standard to have AI developers track and disclose when they use a copyrighted work in their training.
Yeah.
I think that that's a fairly reasonable thing.
The problem they say
you want to use a copyrighted
part of the
work,
problem is that the searching for a copyright at the Copyright Office is a very manual thing. It's not machine readable. It's not accessible. It's more like a card catalog than a database. So it's very difficult to identify the provenance of the data that you're reading in.
And it's
then why have copyright at all?
Well, that's a legitimate question in this day and age, which I've written about.
Yeah.
That's why I suggest something new called credit right.
Tell us about it, Mr. Jeff Jarvis.
Haven't I told you about that?
No.
My argument is that in a string of creativity, there are many players who should be noted and potentially rewarded, and whose good behaviors toward creativity should be recognized. So if I tell you a story, it inspires Paris to write a poem about it, and then Benito makes a song for that, and then Leo puts it in his award-winning film, shouldn't each in that sequence get at least credit? Now, whether they get compensation is a different question, but then you now have the system to enable you to recognize who gave you what in that sequence. It recognizes that creativity is, in fact, a collaborative effort.
Cory Doctorow's complaint is that copyright these days really benefits the publishers, the companies, not the individuals that created the content.
Well, that's been the case from the beginning. Copyright was not demanded by creators. It was demanded by the industry, by the stationers and publishers and booksellers of England
to protect them.
Licensing lapsed because there was too much publishing in their view, and they wanted to control it. And they wanted to. And so, what's interesting to me is that so then the publishers said, well, this is like a God-given right that the author has permanent rights to their stuff. So when we buy it, we get permanent rights. And it went to the lower House of Lords, where that was turned down. And so what you really then copyright is not a granting of rights, it's a limitation of rights. Because the doctrine was that there's a natural right to your creation in public that could last forever. But when you sell it, when you set up those circumstances, you're limited at the time to 14 years. So just interesting little copyright stuff.
Scooter X is pointing out that for the first time since its launch, the Gemini app no longer requires you to sign in with your Google account to use it. If you go to gemini.google.com in incognito mode or without being logged into Google, you will be able to actually go to the chat interface and query it. So it's free. You don't have to have a Google account to do it. I think that's a big move from Google. Good for them. You know what? I think they're worried they're falling behind. I don't think they're technically falling behind, but I think in the perception of people, Anthropic and OpenAI seem to be completely dominant. And Google is not often considered. Yes or no? Is that just me?
I mean, I think it's not as universally known. ChatGPT is obviously more of a shorthand than Gemini, but I think that's also because Google changes the name of its products like every other week.
Yeah, that's part of it too. By the way, if you wanted a sponsor for your skee ball league, I would be glad to kick in as long as we get a logo on your sleeve.
We need to actually make the jerseys happen this year.
Yeah, we'll sponsor you.
How many teams are there in the league?
It depends. Every year at Volo Sport, it kind of changes. And it depends which league. Like last winter, we weren't able to play because I think, as I mentioned, normally there was like a whole scheduling snafu and we ended up getting booted out of our normal day
No.
I know. And we almost were like, don't you know who we are? We've been doing this for we didn't. But the bourgeois ski has been doing this.
If you were men, you'd do that.
Yeah. Do you know who we are? We're the bourgeois ski.
It's true.
Well, if there's anything I can do as a corporate sponsor to support you.
I'll let the team know.
Il Foglio, an Italian newspaper, says has published the world's first all AI edition. AI used for everything: the writing, the headlines, the quotes, even the irony. They say.
Who knows?
I can't tell. It's a conservative liberal daily. I don't even know what that means.
What's that mean?
Italy is so interesting.
No.
It's part of a month-long journalistic experiment. This is a story from The Guardian. To show the impact of AI technology on, quote, our way of working and our days. It's only 4 pages. It was wrapped into the newspaper's own regular edition. I don't read Italian, so I can't tell you how well written it is.
However, you do read English.
Oh, is there a translation?
No. The Independent is launching an AI-supported news service.
Oh, interesting.
I can't figure it out exactly what it is.
I'll be honest.
AI supported how?
I'm not sure.
I often, and you see this, I've mentioned it before, might see the link in some of our news stories through Perplexity, because Perplexity has a news page, which I find quite excellent. And I haven't found any errors in it. So I don't know. Interesting stuff. Oh, Google did announce the 9A. We thought they might do that today. See,
there you learn about it right there.
Look at that.
Now, but also look, and they do link to the stories, but the stories are all basically the same.
Yeah, isn't that the funny thing? Yeah, because everybody's copying everybody else.
Yes, yeah.
We've always liked these A versions of the Pixel phones, so this looks like a pretty nice one. According to AI, this is the most robust A-series phone to date. Oh, no, Google said that. IP68 water and dust resistance. Yeah, fine. It's a sleeker design that eschews the iconic camera bar that you find on a lot of the Pixel phones, that big old bar there. I think that's cool. I think there are people who don't want that bar and so might not worry so much about the camera if they don't have to worry about the bar.
Wait, it's a phone that can lie flat?
It can lie flat.
It's like there's no phones can't do that anymore.
Who'd have thunk it? $499 for the 128 gigabyte model. I guess I could just go to the Google store and get some pictures of it for you. I like these Google phones. They call it, this tagline is magic done bright, because it comes in colors, kids. Purple, pink. Lisa and I decided to do everything in hot pink from now on, by the way. Just
that's great.
Yeah, it's the new color.
Still a small bump. Still a small camera bump.
There's a little bit of
a wee thing.
Little bit. 30 plus hour battery life, they claim, up to 256 gigs of storage. So there's not.
Is there a price?
Yeah, $499 for 128 gigs.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, these are good phones. We've always thought that the A-series phones. So Google releases phones in the fall, just around the same time Apple releases its iPhones. Sometimes October, sometimes August. And then around springtime releases the A version, the less expensive version of it. Gemini built in, AI creative canvas. Look at that tiny chihuahua enjoying a bully stick at home. Oh, hey, I think I might be wrong, but I think that sloth is enjoying some cacio e pepe.
Oh,
yum, yum.
It looks like ramen.
Actually, it does.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Never mind.
So when I had my colonoscopy last week, I know you're not going to want to know any more about that. My wife tried to be good for me and went and bought things I could have on that day where you're supposed to have nothing but clear things. And she got pho broth.
Yeah?
I love pho. Yeah.
I think isn't it pronounced pho?
It's pronounced pho, yeah.
Pho.
But it's spelled pho, so.
I'm no pho fan, I learned.
You're not a pho fan?
I'm not a pho fan.
I like pho. You don't like pho?
I see why one might be a pho fan.
You got to know how to eat it, though. There's a technique.
Well, there's no noodles in his pho.
It's not for you?
Yeah.
Wait, I'll pause. It's not for you?
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you.
How about this from Cornell University? An AI ring that tracks spelled words. It's the spelling, not the ASL, but it does do the spelling based on
spelling
movement.
Is ASL, right?
Well, there's finger spelling and then ASL.
Is that part of ASL?
Yeah.
Okay.
How does it figure out what the other fingers are doing? And also, isn't face
because it's smart enough to take over mankind?
But isn't face isn't your facial expressions a big part of ASL?
No, it's just the spelling letters. It's just the letters.
Oh, okay. Just
that's
the
why
letters.
probably ASL is much more gestury,
much richer.
Yeah, but it does recognize continuous finger spelling in American Sign Language just by wearing a ring with a rather large circuit board attached. But okay, I think that's cool. I mean, there's some really
Leo,
cool
I do
stuff
think
happening.
that you should do is you should get all of these AI products, wear them, and then take a photo like that with the ring, the bee, the glasses, the pin, everything.
Now, here's the question, though. These days, everything's a little like this is the Aura ring. It's probably using some AI, as is the Apple Watch, to understand the movements and stuff. Like the watch knows if I start rowing, it says it looks like you're rowing. So, I mean, there's AI in all of this stuff now. That's the point.
But you wouldn't have called that AI before Transformer technology.
No.
Yeah.
So why are you calling it AI now?
Well, the way they did it is they brought in a lot of athletes doing a lot of different movements, and they tracked those movements and then created a model based on those, aggregate movements that, they don't know what's going on, but they notice that my hand's going like this, and they say, usually that's correlates. I think it's probably much like an LLM. It correlates to a certain kind of exercise, I guess.
To answer
Kevin
your
Roos,
question, Benito, marketing. That's what's
marketing.
changed.
That's the difference. Marketing. Kevin Roos agrees with our guest earlier today. Powerful AI is coming. We're not ready. We know that he is an accelerationist. He loves his AI. And you know what? His AI loves him.
That's the other thing, yes.
Yeah. He says, I believe that when AGI is announced, there will be debates over definitions and arguments about whether or not it counts as real AGI. But these won't matter because the broader point that we are losing our monopoly on human level intelligence and transitioning to a world with very powerful AI systems in it will be true. You really believe that will never happen, Jeff?
No, it won't. I'll say
okay.
That. Long bet. I think, but again, it's the wrong question because it can already do a huge list of things way better than we can ever do it.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yep.
That's what we pay attention to. And this idea, it's the hubris of our species.
That's why I did like Anthony's definition, because the A for him in AGI is autonomous. And I think that is a very important, that's something you can measure, like an autonomous
well, it's also necessary vehicle. For his nightmare.
It is necessary for his nightmare
because it's uncontrollable because it's
uncontrollable. That's right. So I think that is something maybe to add to the definition. I don't know.
I think there's even a bigger question there of like, is general intelligence even a real thing?
Well, it is a meaningless thing because as we've
like artificial
seen,
or not,
as Jeff
like
just pointed out,
true.
Some people know more than other people. There is no, right? So, and by the way, Roos quotes Dario Amodei, who is the chief executive of Anthropic, as he doesn't like the term AGI, but agrees with the general principle. He says last month, we're a year or two away from having this is more something to his liking, a very large number of AI systems that are much smarter than humans at almost everything.
What's smarter, right? I mean, it's...
What humans are you measuring against?
Well, we can't. Yeah, I mean,
that too.
There's still a debate over IQ tests. I mean, are those meaningful?
Well,
Do they measure anything?
No, I mean, they're
probably not.
I feel like very debunked.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you can't measure human intelligence, how are you going to measure machine intelligence? Right. I think we'll know it when we see it. That's why, even though the Turing test is somewhat debunked, there is some value in it. The original Turing test proposed by computer scientist Alan Turing was many years ago, well before AI, was if a human can't distinguish in a conversation, a blind conversation between a human and a machine, which is the human and which is the machine, that's the Turing test. Last week, we talked with Ray Kurzweil, who had a kind of a more advanced Turing test that he felt would be more reflective. But he's always said, and I think it's true, if you can't tell the difference, what does it matter what's going on internally? Because
then who do you blame when someone goes wrong?
Well, who do you blame if you have an accident? You blame
okay, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm just saying if someone, if the person I am talking to,
liability. The question
I call
is liability.
a doctor and they give me bad medical advice that harms me. If I'm looking for the person who has done me wrong, the answer is that doctor. If the doctor was a large language model pretending to be a doctor, then who do I blame for my grapefruit-sized tumor?
Question, right? It's the liability question. Who's liable?
Well, doctors make mistakes. AIs make mistakes.
Yeah, but then the doctor's liable.
Do you think that makes it better that you can sue the doctor, but you can't sue the AI?
There's recourse is the thing. There's recourse. There's no recourse with an AI.
Oh, who's to say? Yeah,
where did you use this? Did you use it at your doctor's office? Did you use it? There's recourse. There's somebody who was running the machine that gave you the bad diagnosis. I think it could do the same thing. A human will do the same thing. Does it make it better that you can sue them? I don't know. You still have a lump the size of a grapefruit.
I think that liability is a real and concrete way to think about this. It doesn't mean it's the best way to think about it, but it is one of the hurdles that we're going to have to come up against. And we're going to have to come up against, honestly, right now, if not very soon. These tools are being used in medicine, in health insurance, in the government. Who is to blame when the AI cuts an entire department that was responsible for important national security issues?
Well,
are there countries where you can't sue a doctor for malpractice? I bet there are.
I'm pretty sure that malpractice isn't as big of a thing outside of malpractice litigation isn't as big of a thing outside of the U.S. I think it's like a U.S. specific thing because we're a very legal liability. Like most of the answers to who is to blame in the U.S. come back to lawsuits because of the way that this country
when you
is
have
formatted.
state-run healthcare, when you have single payer, then in the UK it's the National Health Service, and probably you can't sue it as easily as you could here a company.
Yeah, in the United States, you can't sue governments, right?
Well, yeah, you can. Sure, you can. You can.
In general, governments are protected against lawsuits.
Okay, someone in the chat is saying, how ridiculous is the statement that we shouldn't use a method of solving a problem if we can't attack them if it does wrong? That's insane. That's not entirely what I'm saying. I'm saying when we are handing over large segments of the decision-making process to autonomous machines, to intelligent machines, you might say, we need to be thinking about the consequences of that and what we would then do if that machine produces outputs we don't like. Because we can't just assume that everything is going to go super well. That's not, I think, a great idea when we're thinking about large-scale systematic changes in our society.
I couldn't agree more, and I think we start with so-called autonomous cars and Tesla. I cannot believe that they are allowed on the road with what they have.
Yeah, wait, what happens now if a Waymo crashes into somebody? What happens?
You sue Google.
Okay.
Speaking of which, there's a new Waymo in San Francisco.
They're testing it right now.
Yeah, I hitched a ride line 123.
Yeah.
This is the one without any steering wheel.
This looks like the Zoox. Oh, it is Zoox. This is Amazon's.
Oh, Amazon. Sorry.
Yeah. This is the Zoox. This has been around for a while, but why put in a steering? Why have a front seat if you don't have a driver? So Zoox is from Amazon, and it is now testing in San Francisco. Waymo's been around San Francisco for some time. I think the Zooxes are kind of cute. This looks exactly like the taxis in Westworld, of course.
Yeah, right. So the three of us get in one for our 24-hour festival that we want to do.
Okay.
Do you who's willing to sit facing backwards?
I don't care. I'll sit back facing backwards. Okay. Who's willing to go over a bridge?
In that.
You don't like sitting backwards?
Not in a moving vehicle.
Yeah. Really? Doesn't bother me at all. Really? I often take the backward seat in the train.
I was just saying, if you're getting on a train, you're like, oh yeah, the backward seat. You're not a little bit like, I'd prefer the forward facing seat.
I do too. Yeah.
Well, there's other
I'm not saying I won't sit in the backward facing seat. I'm just saying if I have a choice, I'm choosing the forward seat.
Yeah, well, especially in this case, because you kind of want to know where it's going so you can at least scream when you know you're going to hit something.
Don't you want to know where you've been?
What about respecting the past? What about respecting from where we've come?
Yeah. By the way, good news for Elon. X is now worth $44 billion. Exactly what he paid for it. It was $10 billion in September. You know, it really helps when you own a government. You can really
not so much Tesla.
Yeah, Tesla's not doing.
He's
well.
lost. Let's see, lost $250 billion. I think it is something like that. Yeah.
And that's a hard one to stop because it's not just the U.S. that's happening. It cracks me up though that conservatives who have been anti-New Green Deal and anti-EV for so long are now buying Teslas. Trump's hawking them on the front lawn of the White House. It's we live in a very strange world. Let's just say that. Right? You can buy the 560-pound Twitter logo right now. It's up for sale for auction.
Guys, we should go in. We should go all in on it. We could each take a part.
Where do we put it?
You could put it behind you.
Tall.
Will it fit?
Yeah, it would fit on the wall behind me. Current bid is $27,500, so you'd have to bid $30,250 to beat the current bid. But it's going to go on for a while, another 24 hours, another day. So
remember when like DAOs were buying stuff like that and then would give one piece to everybody?
Yeah, maybe there is a DAO going to buy it. The Bluebird logo that was on the front of the Market Square headquarters.
Market Street.
Yeah, I don't know why it says Market Square. The auctioneer has got it wrong.
Yeah.
The headquarters were square, though. Maybe that's what he means.
Perhaps.
Market Square headquarters. You know what? Somebody bought this in September of 2023. Elon had an auction, the rebranding auction. Somebody bought it. Now they're selling it off.
Oh, I wonder.
It's an investment.
Oh, they're flipping it. They're flipping the bird. They're flipping the bird.
Okay, we have a show title. Thank you for your submissions. Mark Andreessen wants to shut down all higher education in America.
Yeah, this was freaky.
What the hell's wrong with this guy?
He's really over the edge.
This guy has just gone off the deep end.
And in exchange with Lex Fridman, who just drives me bananas.
Does he have kids? Does he have college-age kids?
Andreessen? I don't know.
Andreessen said there's no way to fix higher education in America without replacement. And there's no way to replace them without letting them fail. This is the most obvious conclusion of all time. How come you don't understand this? What happens in the business world when a company does a bad job? It fails. Another company takes its place. That's how you get progress. So can we explain to Mark that a university is not a business?
What about all of the companies you've invested in, Mark, that haven't made money for years, but you
Part of the
continue to
deal.
give them money just because?
He is a notorious nitwit. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he is. 8-year-old son. No, now 10. That was 2 years ago, so 10.
Well, I wonder if he'll go to college.
It's often I often find whenever people are making the argument that colleges need to be shut down, they're brainwashing the kids. You look at their kids and see if they've recently gone to college and whether or not they speak to them.
Are they brainwashed? Yeah. Well, let's not forget that Mark Andreessen has money because he went to the University of Chicago, Illinois at Urbana, the University of Illinois in Urbana at the National Center for Supercomputing Applications, where he wrote the first browser. What was it? Was it Mozilla? Was it Netscape? It was prior to Netscape. Mosaic. That's what it was. You're right. And thanks to all the money that was provided to that National Center for Supercomputing Applications by the federal government. Again, notorious nitwit. This is unfortunately a problem with people who fall into a lot of money and then think they're somehow geniuses. I do not have that problem. I am proud to say I have no money and I'm an idiot.
Not a nitwit, but a twit.
There is, yes, exactly right. There is an auction that I'm intrigued by. The Free Software Foundation is having a silent memorabilia auction, which, I mean, I don't know what they're auctioning off, but I feel like it could be like hairs from the beard. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. This is it'll be interesting to see what they're selling.
The first 10 items are up.
A variety of plush animals that greeted visitors in its former Boston offices.
The dynamic duo, the GNU and the penguin.
Oh, the GNU. The original
What's
GNU head.
It's autographed by RMS.
RMS autograph. See, if I don't get a little piece of Richard Stallman, I don't know if
there's a
Norbert
lot of
Wiener
GNU
Award
art.
they're auctioning off their Norbert Wiener Award. A pair of GCC GNU letter drawings by Gary Torrisi Studio. That's the cover. The cover of the book using GCC, the GNU Compiler Reference Manual. The Internet Hall of Fame medal awarded to Richard Stallman. You shouldn't be able. A legendary katana sword given to Stallman by friends of the FSF.
Ooh.
The sword resembles the one drawn in the XKCD comic and can be used as a weapon in the fight for computer freedom.
That's really good. It's good they specify that.
And there he is, Richard Stallman, with his katana and ninjas that are attacking him. A night of blood I've long awaited. Free software will carry on for a GNU dawn.
Linus Torvalds, I hear he sleeps with nunchucks.
That's hysterical. All right. Let's see. We need to take a break. You're watching Intelligent Machines, brand new, episode 811, with our guest, Anthony Aguirre from the pro-human sector. I don't know. What was it called? The Institute for the
Future of Life Institute.
Future of Life Institute.
Right?
Something like that.
Mm-hmm. Probably.
And Paris Martineau of The Information, and Jeff Jarvis, who does not believe in the future of life. So that's his problem. That's all I can say. If you're not yet a member of the club, I would like to invite you to join Club Twit. Without the club, there would be no scintillating conversations like this. The club also hosts a bunch of stuff inside the Discord that are, tonight at 6 p.m., just a couple hours from now, 6 p.m. Pacific. It's Micah's Crafting Corner. We've got a Chris Marquardt photo segment coming up, Stacy's book club. We're going to do another coffee segment with the coffee geek Mark Prince. All of those in the Clubhouse, which is our wonderful Discord. Plus, you get ad-free versions of all the shows. I think if you hear all of that, you might say, well, that must cost $30, $50, $100 a month. But no, it's only $7 a month. And it helps us put on all the programming we do. It makes a big difference to our bottom line. It covers all of the expenses that advertising does not. And that is a significant portion, sad to say. If you're not yet a member, we would love to have you in the club. twit.tv/clubtwit. What else? I think we talked enough about GTC. Did you see anything else you wanted to?
No.
Any other stories? Blue Sky made more money selling those T-shirts, Jay Graber's T-shirts, mocking Mark Zuckerberg than it has selling custom domains.
They're a T-shirt company now.
Pivot.
It's like how every band. It's like how every band is actually a T-shirt company.
Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't the Google story this week a big deal?
Oh, we should talk about that. The federal government is, of course, still going after Google. They didn't drop that. That's what you want to talk about.
No,
yes?
I'm talking. They're buying cybersecurity firm Wiz for $32 billion.
Yeah, I mean, if this were This Week in Google, I might do it.
Well, what's interesting?
What would you like to say about it? It's a huge.
They tried to buy it last year.
Yeah.
For like $23 billion or something. I can't scroll this right now, so I don't know how much it was. And they didn't because they feared antitrust.
But now they're not worried about it.
Now they're not worried about antitrust, or should they be? Because supposedly the Justice Department is still going after it, or the FTC, or whoever it is.
No, that's because the trial. No, the trial is over. They lost, so the judge gets to decide what to do. And the FTC, I guess, the lawyers there are still suggesting remedies.
Well, they just fired the two Democratic FTC commissioners.
But I think once you've lost a trial, I mean, I guess the FTC could say, well, we don't want any remedy. Thank you. But the judge is going to get to decide.
But so now now the price went up, but they're trying to buy it because they've got tons of cash. And so they're buying this for their, so I think that's a big deal. And then
last year's purchase
and
fell through according to
notably
Financial Times.
The fee, if they back out on the deal now, is astronomical. Like the walkaway fee is crazy big, if I recall correctly.
Well, all of this is expensive. They're spending $1 billion to keep the employees. It's an Israeli cyber intelligence company, I guess. Cybersecurity. Yeah, I mean, this is the largest acquisition in Google history.
Yeah,
right?
That's a big deal.
When it bought Motorola, it was only $12.5 billion.
Right. How'd that go?
Mandiant was $5 billion. Yeah, really.
So Alphabet, meanwhile, spins off the Starlink competitor, Tara. Did you know about that? I didn't even know that existed.
No, and I would love to use a Starlink competitor. We use Starlink as our backup internet access should Comcast go down, because it does, or it had for a while when we first started streaming from here. It's actually been pretty solid.
Knock wood right now.
Well, but I got the satellite dish on the roof. But I would love to look at an alternative. Absolutely.
So this is a terrestrial.
That's the difference. That's the difference. Internet from terrestrial lasers, and this was an Alphabet X, right? X.
Yep.
Incubator moonshot. The company currently has 24 employees, so it's not huge. It operates in 12 countries, connecting the capital of the Democratic Republic of Congo to the Coachella Festival. Oh, no, wait a minute. That was... It was two separate installations.
That's a long way to go.
Although I think that would be a good, useful... Yeah. We've realized over time that for a number of things we create, there's a lot of benefit to landing just outside of the Alphabet membrane. This from Astro Teller, X's captain of moonshots. Is that what it says on his card? Hi, I'm Astro Teller, captain of moonshots. They're going to be able to get connected quickly to market capital. Oh, that's it. They can raise money and scale faster. The current tech involves firing a narrow beam of light from one traffic light-sized terminal to another, transmission of up to 20 gigabits a second over 20 kilometers. So it's nothing like satellite. But there are other satellite competitors, by the way, coming.
Wait, does this thing need line of sight or something? Like,
yeah, it's line of sight.
It does. But it's what it's meant for.
So you put it on a tower.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So like, like a bird sitting on it is gonna mess things up.
No birds allowed.
It'll fry the bird.
I don't.
So my 8th grade honors. You've heard already about my 6th grade science project, electronic bongos.
Yes.
In my 8th grade honors science class, we all had a project, and I was trying to work on transmitting information with light.
Oh, that's great. Did you succeed?
No, I failed.
Oh. Were you blinking the light? What were you doing?
Well, I had a cell and I had a light bulb, but I couldn't figure out what to do about the ambient light. And so,
you needed lasers. That's why.
Well, yeah, and I didn't have.
Could have gone to a very dark room,
Yeah.
Amazon is killing off
I was a geek early on.
I know. I'm impressed. I had no idea. You were much geekier than I was.
Yeah.
What happened?
I was an AV guy too. I mean,
wow.
Paris would have made fun. Paris, being the cool kid, would have made fun of me.
No, I was a nerd and a geek.
I was a theater kid.
I was going to say I was a theater kid.
Yeah.
I liked anime. I wrote fan fiction. I was not cool.
Okay. We didn't have anime when I was in high school. That had not yet been invented.
Wait a second, Leo. We got over this. A few roles, please. What did you perform?
I was Sheridan Whiteside in The Man Who Came to Dinner.
Oh.
So that was a great role.
Did you come to dinner?
Yes. The whole idea was he was a famous New York critic, famously cantankerous, who came to dinner at a house, slipped on the stairs, broke his leg, and was forced to recuperate at the house, where he became a very annoying guest over a period of many weeks. My first line was off stage. In fact, it's the beginning of the play. It's a very famous, funny play. My first line was, as I remember, You driveling cow! You have the touch of a sex-starved cobra. And then they wheel me in. The whole play, I was in a wheelchair. I also played, as I remember, I played the hero in As You Like It. Dubois, I think was his name. What else? Yeah, no, I did a few. And I was also Richard Burton in the Night of the Iguana.
Whoa.
Cerveza aquí, which required a considerable amount of drinking, which is a big deal for a 14-year-old.
I was Walter Hollander, the Jewish caterer from Newark, New Jersey, in Woody Allen's Don't Drink the Water.
Oh, that's great. Ooh. How fun. Did you play it for comedy?
Yes, but as it turned out, it was the lead. I'd never been in anything. Wow. I got it accidentally.
How does one accidentally get a lead role?
So I filled out the form. I had moved from New Jersey to New York, and I filled out the form where you'd done before. And so I mentioned productions, and I made very clear to say I was in lighting. I was the geek. I was the boring kid. And the drama coach thought that I was like a star in those productions. And so I did a good audition, and I got the lead. I was really crappy.
Well, do you think it's just that there weren't any men that wanted to be in the production? Because that's a problem some schools have.
So there was a guy who was in it who became a movie star, Namir El-Kadi.
Whoa.
Was in my class. He was a movie star. Yeah.
That's pretty
cool. You could have been a laser inventor. You could have been a movie star. Instead, you chose to be here on this podcast.
Could have been an electronic percussionist.
I'm looking at the plot of The Man Who Came to Dinner. I had forgotten this. He was a radio personality. An acerbic New York radio personality.
Now,
so this may be where it all began.
We have found your rosebud, Leo.
Wow. I forgot that. I thought he was a theater critic. No, he was an acerbic New York radio personality.
All that and the voice? Yeah.
Great dribbling cow! You have the touch of a sex-starved cobra.
Leo's rosebud. Yep, we're there.
We just found my rosebud.
We found the unified theory of Leo.
You're watching This Week in Intelligent Machines. Whoops. Almost said Google.
You almost said it.
I almost said it. I knew I would at some point. We're going to take a little break. When we come back, it's Pick of the Week time with Paris and Jeffrey. All right, Paris Martineau, kick us off with your Pick of the Week from the New York Post.
Nope, I put the wrong link there. That's something for work.
Okay,
hold on.
Oh, I'm not going to look at it then. Is it a secret? Oh.
Hold on.
She put in a work link.
Listen, sometimes you got a lot of links in the clipboard.
Are you talking about the Broadway show, Oh Mary, when you say Oh Mary?
I am, yes. So last night I went to go see the Broadway show Oh Mary, which just opened with a new person playing.
Oh, it's Titus Burgess in it? Oh yes. My God, I love him.
He was fantastic in it. And I just really recommend if anybody's coming through New York and wants to see a show, Oh Mary was really good. Titus is the lead for I think the next couple of weeks, at the very least, and then it's going to be back to Cole Escola,
who wrote it and created the part originally.
Yeah, and I'm going to go back and see
hysterical?
Them in it too. It's
I've seen him like on the talk shows in his Mary Lincoln garb, and it's hysterical. But so it's a one-person show about Mary Lincoln.
Ish. It's technically they have a cast of 5, but okay. Cole. There's a couple of other supporting characters, but they don't really play big of a role because it's all about Mary Todd Lincoln, and it is, I would say, very loosely related to history or Mary Todd Lincoln at all. It is basically using.
There's Cole, by the way, the original. Yeah.
It is basically a gay romp that is a mishmash of queer and gay culture in Mary Todd Lincoln. Like one of the core tensions is that Abraham Lincoln is secretly gay and trying to fight off his repressed homosexuality. Mary Todd Lincoln is a manic depressive alcoholic who can't stop lying about everything. Kind of, what if Mary Todd Lincoln was a real housewife is kind of a good way to think of the show.
That's
hilarious.
What a premise.
My mother insisted that she was Mary Todd Lincoln reincarnated.
Oh, wow. Not somebody to emulate. She was kind of notoriously horrible person.
Yeah.
I wanted to see this so badly. And I love Titus Burgess. He was in the Unbreakable
Kimmy Schmidt.
Kimmy Schmidt.
It's really quite, I mean, you get to see all of his skills really come into play here.
Funniest. I followed him
He's been
on
on Broadway
TikTok
before,
for ages.
but more in supporting or cast like roles. And so it's really great to see him in his first like leading Broadway role. He killed it. It is a incredibly physical role. It's very funny. It requires a lot of acting, but it also requires some singing and cabaret. It's not a musical, but that comes into play in some parts of it kind of unexpectedly, and he really shone. So would recommend.
And it would drive the administration crazy because it's a drag show.
That's true. And I think I heard that, I don't know what, this could be fake news, but I think I heard that part of the reason why Cole, the original author and person who played Mary, why they and the whole Broadway cast are all coming back in April is because I think they're going to be filming it for streaming. So you might be able to see it from the comfort of your home.
I would love to. How funny is that? I'm so jealous. See, this is why I wished I lived in New York City, because I would go to the theater all the time.
It's fantastic. It's really
theater
great.
Kid.
Yeah, there's something about a live performance that is just, there's nothing like it. It's just amazing.
I mean, it really is fantastic. And it was also just, this is the first time I think I've seen someone on Broadway. It was literally the opening night for Titus on Tuesday. I don't know. I think I had just seen it come across my Twitter feed that Titus was going to be playing this. So I opened it up and was like, oh, tickets are kind of cheap. So I nabbed them, but then they spiked. So I got lucky.
Now you can't get them.
Yeah, the tickets are really expensive now, but it was incredibly, I felt like, moving just to see at the end the curtain call of like someone experiencing a 5-minute standing ovation on their first night in Broadway. It really brought tears to my eyes.
Yeah.
I don't know. Go visit your local theaters, guys.
It's a great institution. Theater is incredible. It's amazing. It's amazing. I guess that means it's your turn, Jeff Jarvis.
So, the other day I was wondering, whatever happened to Mike Arrington?
Oh my God, whatever happened to Mike?
TechCrunch? I'm not exactly sure.
He's doing all right.
Yep, he bought a house in Miami Beach for $60 million.
What? Oh, crypto, baby.
Oh.
TechCrunch founder turned crypto investor.
Boy.
The house was built by a real estate mogul for $7.5 million in 2020. He spent 4 years building it. They moved into the home last fall and sold it without a realtor to Mike Arrington for $60.
Well, they saved on the commission.
Wow.
Yeah. The property was not on the market at the time of sale. Oh, this is so Mike Arrington.
So Mike.
Mike just said, I'm buying your house. He got a call from a real estate agent with another overture. Apparently he was getting one every week. He's about to turn him away when Karp suggested he throw out a number. $65 million, said the realtor, which would net him a significant profit, according to the Wall Street Journal. And Mike said, 60. Wow. But they just moved in.
5 bedrooms, 2 staff bedrooms.
You got to have staff bedrooms.
You have to. 1/4 of an acre, pool, elevator, gym with sauna, and steam room. Picture Mike in the sauna.
I made a big mistake throwing him off of our shows.
Yeah. What did he do?
He accused me of favoritism because I got a review phone of the it was the Palm Pre, and I really liked it. And he said, "Did they give that to you?" And I said, "Yeah, for review. I'm returning it in 2 weeks." He said, "Uh-huh." So finally, I just swore at him and threw him off.
Yes.
Well,
big mistake. I could have a
nothing
nice
like-
place to stay in Miami if I had just stayed friends.
Yeah.
I saw him a couple of years later at Le Web in Paris. And I said, let me shake your hand. He was holding court. He was sitting high atop a pile of cushions. So he was about 8 feet in the air. I know, it's really weird. He was 8 feet in the air, and I reached up, and he said, no, I'm not shaking hands these days. What? And that was that. That's the last time I saw him.
Not shaking hands these days.
I bet he has a pillow throne in his new home, however.
Kind of a whole pillow room.
It's a wonderful accident story because I talked to him early on. I haven't talked to him in years. I talked to him early on in his business in TechCrunch, and TechCrunch it's like Craigslist, but rich, in that he was just making lists for the sake of his own work, and TechCrunch became a thing that he didn't anticipate.
Huh. Interesting.
He did a good job. I mean, but I don't think he sold it for that much. So. And he became an investor. I think this is really, he fortuitously invested in Bitcoin.
I was going to say I assume, probably started off this trend of a lot of TechCrunch people going into venture capital or tech. Generally.
Well, it's also like
tech
Jason.
journalists have been doing that forever, you know?
If you bought 1,000 Bitcoin for $100 in, 20, not even 20 years ago, 10 years ago, you'd be sitting pretty right now. You could afford a $60 million house in Miami.
Wow.
It's kind of amazing. Wow. Thank you for sharing that with me.
Yeah,
now I feel
that
terrible.
depress you now. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, that's it for this edition of Intelligent Machines. Jeff Jarvis, Paris Martineau, wonderful to have you. Who are we talking to next week, Benito? Do we have
let me look. Yes, we have somebody next week. It is Gary Rivlin, who wrote the AI Valley.
He's got a new book about AI, the AI Valley. Awesome. You know Gary, right, Jeff?
No, I don't.
No, you don't. I thought you must.
I don't think so.
He is he's an investigative reporter. He's worked for The Times, Mother Jones, Wired. He's a Pulitzer Prize winner.
Ooh.
So that'll be fun. He's been writing about Silicon Valley for some time. New book.
A lot of good books.
AI Valley, Microsoft, Google, and the $1 trillion race to cash in on artificial intelligence.
So it's focused on Google and AI.
And Microsoft, yeah.
Okay, that'll be interesting.
So it will be fun. That's next week. We are trying to shed light on AI, what it means, how you can use it, what it's going to be like in an AI-driven future, and that's all we do.
And the week after that, can we mention that one too?
Yeah, who's after that?
You want to say it, Benito?
Oh, we got.
They've been doing a good job booking.
Mike McHugh.
Mike McHugh.
Oh, great.
So Surf, we can hear about Surf.
Yes, he's got a new venture. Mike is, of course, the founder of Flipboard. And I've been using Surf. The idea is it's kind of an aggregator, I guess.
You have been using it. Oh, good. Cool.
Oh, yeah. I have the test version of Surf on my phone.
And Paris, we're going to miss you.
I know I'm going to miss you guys for the next 2 weeks. I am.
Paris will be in Paris next week.
Now, Paris, when I went to Europe in the old days, I went ahead and did the show from Europe.
He did. Sometimes from a basement, sometimes a cafeteria. You never knew where Jeff was going to show up.
Yeah, because Paris, was dedicated to the show and the culture.
That's true. I'm not dedicated. I'm dedicated to eating a lot of cheese and drinking a lot of wine and not thinking about tech news for 2 weeks.
So
I'm going to try and force myself to.
When do you leave?
Tuesday at midnight.
Nice. So in the earlier on the Discord, I recommended a book. I'm a huge fan of Russell Shorto.
Ooh,
and he wrote a book called Amsterdam, the history of the world's most liberal city, I think it is. Really good perspective on Amsterdam. Shorto also wrote.
I read his book on Manhattan, which I loved.
So he's got two. He just has a new one I just finished. You'll love it.
I read The Island at the Center of the World.
Which is great, which is about the Dutch New York.
The early days of New York. It's fascinating.
Oh, I want to create a fund to build a statue to Adrian van der Dunk, who kind of brought the ideas of freedom of expression to our shores.
Yeah.
He just has a new book out, which I just finished, called Taking Manhattan.
Oh, I'll have to get it.
Which is about how the English took over what was New Amsterdam and made it into New York, and didn't fire a shot, and made it into kind of an experiment in a new economics and a new diversity and pluralism that becomes the essence of New York to this day.
And then along came Alexander Hamilton, and the whole thing was shot.
I know where it goes. Shorto is just great. He's just wonderful.
And why are we mentioning him? We're gonna.
She's going to Amsterdam.
Oh,
I'm going to Paris
read his
and
book.
Amsterdam.
Yeah.
So I will.
So
Thank
he's
you for
written a book
the
about
recommendation.
Amsterdam and New Amsterdam.
Yeah, he lived for some time. And so Amsterdam, A History of the World's Most Liberal City, is really quite wonderful.
Now I've got to read the entire Russell Shorto
the
library. The oeuvre. That's a French word that means eggs over easy. You know, omelette de fromage, right?
Bien sûr.
How is your French, Paris?
Oh, it's a bit rusty, is what I was going to say in French. But
Are you going
I'll say it in
to
English.
impress the teammates?
I will definitely impress my skee ball teammates with my French.
Good.
I will never impress a French person. I did not do that even when I spoke fluent French in France. The
French people, though, it's interesting, like the American accent. Because I always try to, say, do all the R stuff. And somebody told me, no, don't do that. Just do R, because they think the American accent is so cute. So if you say très bien, they go, oh, isn't she cute? Instead of très bien, they'll just love it.
I'll take that into consideration. Whenever I speak with, or at least back in the day, whenever I was speaking in what I thought it was a French accent, one French shopkeep was like, oh, I thought you were in French. They're like, oh, I thought you were Belgian. You speak with a Belgian accent.
That's such an insult.
It's because I know. It's because my first French teacher was Belgian.
Well, at least you weren't Quebecois. That would be an insult.
I mean, it's an insult, but it's not the worst.
Well, your French must be very good if they thought you were Belgian. That's very
It
good.
was.
That's
It's gotten worse.
It'll come
you
right
exchange
back to you.
student?
I think
there?
it will. Yeah, I studied abroad there for a year.
A year?
Oh, my God.
Oh, wow.
In Belgium?
In Paris.
Oh. You studied in Paris for a year?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It was fun.
In high school or college?
In college.
Wow.
En français?
Partially.
Oh.
Yeah, my
But not
daughter did
some-
that in her junior
some
year
English
in high
classes.
school. She announced, I'm going to be gone for a year. Going to France. And it was what? It was very disruptive. It was very disorienting. It was a sad day. She studied in Rennes for a year. She loved it. And we went and visited her, of course. It's beautiful. Well, have a wonderful trip. It's 2 weeks off.
We're going to miss you.
We're replacing you with people who will be of a 10th year caliber.
Yes.
Mike Aaron.
I hope you tell them.
Have a great trip. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. And thank you, all of you, for joining us. We do Intelligent Machines every Wednesday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2100 UTC. You can watch us live on 8 different streams. If you're in the club, Twit Discord's one of them. YouTube is probably the preferred way. Most people like to watch it on YouTube, but there's also Twitch, TikTok, X.com, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Kick. So choose your favorite platform, but you don't have to watch live. We make it a podcast. You can download a copy of the show from our website, twit.tv/IM. There's a YouTube channel dedicated to intelligent machines. You can watch the video there. Great way to share clips or subscribe. That's the best way, I think, in your favorite podcast client. And you'll get the show automatically. The minute it's done, you have a choice of audio or video. I think most people now do video and then just listen to it if they're in the car. But if they want to see it, they can do video. But it's up to you, however you want to do it. We just have
you want to see Leo's shirts. You do.
The shirts are part of the attraction.
The shirts are a big deal. He's got a whole. How many shirts do you have?
I think it's approaching 50 now.
Whoa.
I think I figured out that I could go 3 months without repeating. I think something like that. That's the goal.
Which one do you get the most compliments on when you wear it out? Is it still the avocado shirt?
That's the one I wore in New York City. They love the avocado shirt.
People on the street in New York who never talked to anybody said,
"Hey, avocado guy, hey!"
Yeah,
I can't afford those anymore.
Avocados. This is nobody's going to say, "Hey, sugar skull guy." That's not going to happen. So, But this is a fun shirt. I agree.
That's nice.
I get these from a little shop in San Miguel de Allende, Mexico, called Abrazos Design. You can get them online. They're wonderful.
Ooh.
Made by local artisans, local prints. Yeah, I'm really happy with them. They're very comfy. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time on Intelligent Machines. Bon voyage, Paris.
Bon voyage.
I'm not